in the chop shop. We in the chop shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop. We live in the chop shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the chop shop. Yeah, it's lit in the chop shop. Turn your dials up in the drop top. They ain't based to debate, but they keep it fact straight. Going 30 for 30, let's do a first take. On Facebook Live from 12 to 2. Rob Hatter and Jim Hicks going back and forth like Carter Ray, Skip Bayless and Stephen Smith. From on the court, off the court, straight to the field. Not a man that steals, but I made it steal. To the octagon where I fight to kill. We go face to face, then you write your will. I don't play tennis, but I bring the racket. I'm on the flow, I attack the basket. Put you in the casket when I'm overlapping. Never showing mercy, cause I'm always snapping. Never showing mercy when I'm in the arena. Step into the ring, you see me as I beat him. Step into the court, I'm never backing down. Killing competition, I'm smacking down. Let me get back to the other stuff at the chop shop, cause they cutting up. It's retro, coming to you live to the chop shop. Now let's turn it up. Yeah, we in the chop shop, man. Shout out to Jim Hicks and Rob Hatter. You can catch the chop shop live from 12 to 2 on Facebook Live. Let's get it. We in the chop shop. We live in the chop shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop. We live in the chop shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the chop shop.
H-Town, what's up? You know what time it is. It's time for the best 120 minutes of your day. The Chop Shop, the nation's #1 urban sports talk show, and also your midday sports happy hour. Yours truly, Robert Hatter with the legend, Chi-Chi. Jim Hicks is in the building today. We're coming to you live from Houston, Texas, but we're broadcasting all over this entire world via Facebook Live and YouTube Live. We have two great guests on this show today. We got a continuing guest from yesterday because we had a hiccup at the end of the show yesterday. But we got a special young man. I'm going to let Jimmy handle that today. We got a special young man who's going to join us that's doing big and special things. And we're going to talk about that. But first and foremost, our first 5 people who sign up on our Facebook and YouTube page. That's called our starting 5. Sonia Billingsley, Derek Johnson, Todd Holmes, Rod Wells, and Tiffany Sanders. And our 6th man for the day is Daryl Anderson. So shout out to all of them people out there. Jimmy, I got Jimmy. I'd be remiss because I got people from my hometown. They are watching today. Jimmy is 101 day. Excuse me. I'm sorry. 901 day today. Might not mean nothing to you, just like Juneteenth. We didn't know nothing about Juneteenth. I'm finna help y'all. It's 901. That's the area code in Memphis. It's 901 today. They just celebrating they celebrate Memphis. They got. Let me tell you some of the deals they got going around town, Jimmy. I pulled them up. It's 901 day. They got at one of the pubs. They got Tiger Blue Chips. Will be 909, takeout only. Then they got a dozen of glazed donuts from this other place, 909. I mean, Jimmy, don't hate, because I don't hate on your city, but I got something special. I want everybody, got something special for y'all. And this in commemorative of 901 Day.
Memphis. Nothing but Memphis. Everywhere we go, it's Memphis. Memphis, Tennessee, the beautiful land in the world.
I had to throw that back in there, Jimmy. I done played that before, but I had to throw that though. But I know it. You can get me later. But and hold up. Oh yeah. They said, Jimmy, the best 2 words in sports is Game 7. as we got one between the Thunder and the Rockets. But me, then again, somebody told me that the best words in sports was "we win," which probably makes a little bit more sense. And that's what the Heat did all over the Bucks and a stunner last night. But I guess we'll talk about it a little bit later. But really, was it a stunner? But I know, Jimmy, we got a special guest that got to get off this air. We can't keep him. He can't go overtime. I don't want you, Kelly. He got an important meeting right after he get off this show. And we don't want it. This is one of his first Zoom meetings. So we don't want him to be late. So guess what? Jimmy, I'm going to give you the pleasure. Come up in the screen a little bit. I want you to get up in the screen so people can see you. And yeah, come on up. Ain't nobody going to cut that hat off. You be worried about the hat. But I would love for you to introduce our guest, one of our guests for today, special guest. You got the show.
Oh, indeed. Let's get right on into it. Young man he's a former McDonald's All-American, former high school star, Bel Air, right in Houston, class of 2007. He comes from basketball royalty, the first family of basketball in Houston. Like the Johnsons, we had Snoop Johnson 2 weeks ago, and he's part of the first family of basketball in DFW, or specifically Dallas. Well, guess what? We have royalty again on the Chop Shop, and this young man is making is entering a new phase in his life, whereas he will be coaching collegiate basketball outside of the state of Texas. And he's going into one of the most historic basketball programs in the country, and that would be the University of Kentucky. And we're talking about Jay Lucas, guys, is with us today on the Chop Shop. And this is a remarkable afternoon. I know they've been running him ragged probably over the past week or so since the news started to seep out about him possibly leaving. So first of all, we got a lot we're going to run through, take a blast to the past with Jay Lucas. You guys will be able to talk. He'll be able to explain to you and express his reflections on the University of Texas, as well as what he's looking forward to endure and encompass on in the Big Blue Nation. Welcome, Jay Lucas, to the Chop Shop. What's going on, young fella?
Ain't nothing much. I appreciate y'all for having me.
What's up, big fella?
Yeah.
What's up, Hatter?
I cannot believe this. Hey, I'm so used to having your dad on. When he come on, it's an event. So I just sit back, and him and Jimmy, I just sit back and do this here. See, I know I might get a chance to say something today. So thank you for coming on the show today, man. I'm so proud of you, and I know the people, and I want people on the air. Let me tell you something. It's not very often that you get a chance to get Jay in a forum like this. So do me a favor, get your questions, get your Texas questions, get your Kentucky questions out. And think about it. This man went from Power 5 to Power 5. Everybody don't get a chance to do that, y'all. So listen to me. Jimmy said something great, and I never think about that because I've been knowing him before he was before he was born. I knew his family before he was born. And it is just so funny. It is basketball royalty. Just so y'all don't know, if you didn't know, his dad was my hero. He was a All-American basketball player and an All-American tennis player. I thought I was a pretty good basketball player and a pretty good tennis player. So guess what? I looked up to him, and then I got a chance when I moved to Houston. I got a chance to meet and play in the summer league with my hero. So of course, when Jimmy said basketball royalty, it brought me back because and I don't tell John that's his dad that much this, but he was actually a guy. And guess what, Jay, I'm right-handed, but I hit my tennis ball. I play tennis left-handed. So John, look, you got to feel me now. And John was a lefty. I remember him on World Team Tennis. Hold up, in case y'all, let me give him a little history, Jay. He was the All-American, hold up, All-American basketball player and All-American tennis player. Let me repeat that in case y'all didn't get it, because they ain't never happened no more. They ain't never happened no more. See, sometimes people don't know history, Jay.
Yeah.
First team All-American tennis, first team All-American basketball player, the number one pick in the whole NBA. So I didn't mean to mess your thing up, Jay, but I had to, when Jimmy brought up royalty, he was right. Good choice of words, but you can expound on that, but that's how I feel about you and your family. And I go to church with your mama. So guess what? Yeah, it's all go to Bible study with your mom. So guess what? It's a connection here, y'all. But what you got? What's up, Jay?
Ain't nothing much. You know, I had to drop in on y'all family. So without anything, of course, anytime y'all call, I'm here.
All right.
Absolutely. And so now, of course, you know, right now, are you in Kentucky yet, or are you still in Austin?
I'm in Kentucky. I got here Sunday night.
And what was it like when you got in? Did you try to slide on in, or did they have some folk waiting on you at the airport? You know, they can tell when planes are leaving from. You know, they got all type of apps out there now. How was it?
No, it was good. I was, you know, times are different now with everything going on with the pandemic and stuff. So, you know, it was my first time flying since March, since they flew us back from the Big 12 tournament. So adjusting to that and getting used to that. So it was easy. It was simple. But, you know, now that everything's out, trying to move around, it's gotten a little bit more crazy.
A little bit more crazy? Like,
Yeah.
Give us an example.
No, I'm just saying everybody knows you. You know, the one thing that's great about it up here is it's a basketball city. It's a basketball town. So they care, you know, so wherever you move, they know who you are. They're excited to meet you and everything like that. So that's been a good experience.
And, you know,
that's
first
why
one.
Hold up, Jimmy. That's why them little players, when they come on there on them visits, they don't want to leave.
Yeah, it's hard to say no to it. You know, you treat it, you know, most people that come up here want to be pros, and that's how you kind of perceive here right away.
You know what? Speaking of pros, I was thinking earlier at Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
This year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just say if the rules, you know, was back in the old days and you couldn't go to the NBA, you know, and most people played 4 years. Let's say if that was the rule. The projected starting lineup, I was looking this morning. I mean, I didn't get this. I put this together myself. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander would have been in the backcourt with Tyler Hero.
Mm-hmm.
Jared Vanderbilt would have been at the 3, right? Then in the front court, you would have had Kevin Knox and P.J. Washington.
Yeah.
So 4 of those 5 guys are excelling in their roles in the NBA right now, with Jared Vanderbilt still piecing it together and still, you know, add injuries. So you get an incomplete on him until he was at Minnesota this year. I mean, that would have been a starting lineup of seniors. And as you mentioned, it was kind of funny, you know, leaving Texas. But let's talk about Kentucky right now.
Mm-hmm.
What was your role? What is your job title, and define what some of your duties will be while you're there?
I am the special assistant to the head coach / recruiting coordinator. So basically all the stuff that I will do will be more leaning towards the recruiting side of it. I'll still do some coaching and stuff, but by the rule, I'm not technically allowed to be on the court. So a lot of the bulk of it will be with the recruiting, like official, unofficial visits, setting up who to talk to, who to recruit, mail out schedules, everything like that, just pertaining to Kentucky basketball.
And I know it's going to be interesting because later we have to get you back in a few months to kind of get the differences, because you're just getting there. You don't really know the differences in how things are handled as far as recruits and visits at Kentucky versus, you know, other schools, because you played at Florida, you played at Texas, you coached at Texas, you know, and now you're back in SEC territory at Kentucky.
Right.
But so, I mean, this is really intriguing right here, because so how did this transpire? So you woke up one morning, did it come to you, or did you go and seek it? Or did Papa Luke say, you know what, I got something for you?
Nah, it was nothing like that. I kind of know one of the guys here on staff, and we were actually just having a conversation about something else, about like how they were dealing with like their players and the restrictions doing workouts and stuff. We had kind of had a relationship doing some coaching stuff. We had Kane, and then he had reached out back out to me about it when something else had kind of happened when Kenny left and they were kind of splitting the jobs and everything like that. He had kind of called me and asked me about it. Initially I thought it was, about the assistant job, but that was my first thought process. Then he kind of talked through everything else.
And then, so now in the business, stuff seeps out all the time. So the rumors start swirling. At what point did you let Coach Shaka Smart know that, I'm about to bounce?
Well, out of respect for him, as soon as I got the call about the opportunity, I let him know. So it was something that happened before. And then when that stuff started to come out that week prior and stuff like that, we were still like just talking. So I don't even know how that came out and stuff like that. So I didn't make a decision until I think that stuff came out Tuesday or something. And then I told the team and coaching everybody like Friday or something.
Say, you just made me think about it. You said how you told, out of respect, you told Shaka. And it's funny because now I'm thinking back, it was something similar that almost transpired when you first got the Texas job, right? You were, and tell us that story because we can talk about it now because it's 5, 6, 7 years, 8 years, whatever it was ago, when you were on the way up to the DFW area about a job and actually you had to turn around. I remember that.
Not that crazy, but it was something similar to that. I had got the interview at TCU, and then after my interview, they had offered me on the spot, and so I had called Coach and told them they had offered me the job and stuff. And then he just said, okay, well, when you get in tomorrow, let's just talk about everything, and we'll see, and we'll go from there. So we kind of had the conversation, and he said he wanted me to stay and kind of stuff that, and then that's just kind of how it happened.
And so now you got how long were you at Texas?
Total? I was there totally 4 years as an assistant, and I was there 7 years total. 7 years at UT. And so this move, what are you expecting from this move? Because now you removed yourself from the recruiting trail, as you just said, right? Yeah, technically not being able to go out in person recruit, but I'm still able to text and conversate with recruits. And, a big part of it is this year, it may not be any in-person recruiting. So, that's one thing that is, crossed my mind and when I was looking at taking this position as well.
What you got, Adam?
No, I'm just sitting there. Hey, this your wheelhouse. Hey, let me tell you something. I'm a smart man. I'm really conversing with these people on the Facebook feed who just don't know when to quit sometimes. They just don't understand, they just don't, they can't help it. Have you ever heard of, my mama used to say, sometimes some people just can't help it. They can't help but opening their damn mouth. They can't help but run their mouth about other people's business. They just can't help it. We got a lot of people with the can't help it around here, Jay, and I'll expound on it later when you get off the show because I don't want you in this carnage. but guess what? I'm built for it, baby. I'm built for it. So, Jimmy, what else? Because I know you got.
Yeah.
What else you got?
Absolutely. And are we up against the break real quick, Hatter?
Yeah, we've been should have had a break.
Yeah, let's go into the break. We come right back and talk some more hoops with Jay Lucas, guys. Meanwhile, if you're on the Facebook feed, share the show to your timelines and to your hoop groups, friends, and whatnot. If you're watching us live via YouTube, give us a thumbs up. Do so. We're on YouTube and Facebook streaming simultaneously right now on the Chop Shop. We'll be right back after these messages.
Dear Majority Leader McConnell.
Dear Majority Leader McConnell.
The undersigned Baltimore Ravens players and staff write to voice our support for the Justice in Policing Act.
A bill introduced in the wake of the police-involved killings of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and others in the Black community who have lost their lives at the hands of law enforcement.
The Justice in Policing Act includes many long overdue reforms that target patterns, practices, and conduct by police that disproportionately affect people of color across the nation.
Far too often, black men, women, and children have lost their lives at the hands of police officers, with little to no accountability for the actions of those officers.
With yet another example of racial discrimination and police misconduct with the shooting of Jacob Blake a few days ago, we can no longer tolerate a system that has too often failed to serve, protect, and value the lives of Black Americans. It is time for our leaders at the highest levels of government to finally act and pass meaningful reforms that will save Black lives.
That is why we write today in support of the Justice in Policing Act. This legislation will change the culture of law enforcement, empower our communities, and build trust between law enforcement and communities of color by addressing systemic racism and bias in law enforcement. Among the much-needed reforms included in the legislation, the Justice in Policing Act would prohibit federal, state, and local law enforcement from racial, religious, and discriminatory profiling.
It will also ban chokeholds and carotid holds at a federal level and require that deadly force only be used as a last resort. Moreover, it would limit the use of military-grade weapons, equipment by state and local law enforcement and promote police accountability by making it easier to prosecute police misconduct in criminal court and by eliminating qualified immunity to civil actions.
As Senate Majority Leader, you alone have the ability to act now on these reform measures that will unify our society while saving Black lives.
We implore you to allow the will of the Senate to work on this real, meaningful change.
By scheduling a floor vote on this legislation.
Sincerely.
Sincerely. Sincerely.
Sincerely.
Sincerely.
Welcome back to the Chop Shop, your midday sports happy hour. The best 120 minutes of your day. Guys, don't forget, guess what I'm doing right now? I'm dramatizing. Hey, that's our people right there. And you know what? In H-Town. And I'm really, really fond of that, dramatize. Young guys in the 12th grade established his own line of hand sanitizer. So I want to just give a shout out to him continuously. Look, Kalen Farouk, and who's a student now enrolled at Hampton University. But anyway, we have Jay Lucas.
Jimmy, somebody sent a picture to you. You got to realize, we done got so where when we go places, I remember I was at a Rockets game, right, one time, Jay. I'm just sitting there minding my own business. I looked over and saw a dude taking my picture. And I caught his ass, Jay. Grown-ass man now. I can see it was a little boy. Oh, that's Robert Allen. But this is a grown-ass man like trying to take my picture. So somebody sent me a picture of Jimmy. Jimmy, do me a favor. Watch everywhere you go. Keep looking around. I'm your homeboy. I'm looking out for you. Keep looking around. I forgot to tell you after the show. Somebody sent me a picture of you at the table with Alan Branch, and you got your German-ties sitting right there on the table. And guess what? They circled the German-ties.
Wow. So the hell with the basketball game. They looking at the
hey, this is what's going on, man. And Jay, it's crazy. Jay, I'm sitting there. I'm just, man, this dude. And I wanted to say, hey, man, paparazzi. I wanted to say something real slick, but I was around some people. But I wanted to say something. But hey, Jimmy, hey, I guess that's, what you said the other day, Jimmy? Jimmy said in a text, my man got trolls now. That's what comes with this. That's what comes with this.
hey, good thing I didn't tell. How you know I didn't tell my wife I was going to the grocery store? And I'm in the gym.
Yeah. Oh, you're in trouble. You in trouble then. Hey, you in trouble.
Yeah, in trouble. Hey, we got, Jay, what I'm gonna do is have a couple of questions for they bottleneck up from the viewers that we're gonna present to you already. And if you guys have questions for Jay Lucas, You make sure if you're on the Facebook or the YouTube feed, submit your questions, and we'll try to get to him in a prompt manner. Rick asks, he's first in line with the question today. He says, between you, your brother, Lil John, and your dad, right? John Lucas. Who would make the most if y'all attempted 100 3-pointers?
I know. John.
I would say
Lil John. John.
Yeah, I would say John.
John, the killer.
John.
Yeah.
And okay, and that's
Jimmy,
I mean I don't know.
Hey Jimmy, John still get buckets right now.
No. Hold on. You did not hear what Jay just said.
What Jay said?
Say it again, Jay. Say what you said.
What did he say?
I said that's the only thing he does better than me.
That's the only thing he does better than me.
I got you. I hope Latavia watching this today. I hope she watching this today. Yeah.
And that's the only thing he said. Now, does John, of course, came out in 2001.
Uh-huh.
So he was in elementary school, sixth grade, whatever.
Yeah.
He came out. He played on the high school team with Emeka Okafor.
Mm-hmm.
That was part of that strong class of 2001, which is headlined by T.J. Ford, Daniel Ewing, both made the McDonald's All-American game. Emeka Okafor, who ended up being a lottery pick. You had Lawrence Roberts got drafted as well from that class. And I'm missing a whole lot more from that class. That class was really, really thick.
Who was it? Carlos Hurt in that class?
Carlos Hurt was in that class. He made the McDonald game, you know. And so when you sitting there and I remember like your brother averaged almost 30 a game.
Mm-hmm.
And you come along a couple of years later, you make the McDonald game. You think Lil John was kind of salty at that?
Nah, not at all. He's always been my biggest supporter. That's the one thing about him is he's always been my biggest supporter. He's my best friend. You know, I wouldn't be where I am without him.
What kind of support he give? Like what kind of? Because everybody have siblings, and you know what? Give an example of his support.
The first support he gave me was just an example to follow. You know, he kind of showed me what it meant to work, what it meant to have a chip on your shoulder, what it meant to go after your dreams, everything like that. And then just growing up and then going through, you know, some of the things I went through, he always was somebody there that I could always lean on. And he was always my biggest cheerleader. So anytime, whether it was taking this job or whether it was getting into coaching, whether it was where I was going to school, being a McDonald's All-American, it was like he was doing it, you know, so that was always good. It was never like any, you know, animosity or anything towards me for doing stuff that he didn't get to do. It was like it was like him doing it too.
Yeah, I got some on here from somebody on the Facebook feed. They asked a couple of questions. They said, what's your advice to young coaches that's coming up want to be, you know, what's your advice to them? I mean, I know that's a broad brush, but what would you give? I mean, you was blessed in situations. Your first job happened to be at Texas, and but everybody might not be able to have that. You know, be able to be in a position like that. Your timing was just right. And what advice will you give to young coaches?
You just gotta do the work and make sure you do it the right way. And then the biggest thing you can do is work on your relationships and your network. You know, that's the biggest thing you can do. Work on your relationships and your network, because that's half the battle right there. Is, you know, a lot of times I know I am blessed and privileged to have a last name and stuff like that, and it will get you some extra looks and get you in the door. But then there's a level above that too, where that name and them certain rooms don't really mean a lot. You know what I mean? They're gonna ask you, what have you done?
Right.
So you got to be able to perform too, and that's the biggest part. And that's one of the things that always motivate me, because it was just, you grow up with it. You know, it's like a gift and a curse when you have a last name that has stuff tied to it. You know, a lot of people assume a lot of things are given to you and handed to you. And, you know, the one thing that's always been with me is like, I'm not afraid to do the work. I'm not afraid to, you know, if I need to mop the floor, like I'm gonna mop the floor, like ain't nothing under me. Like whatever is needed to do, I'm gonna do. You have to be able to have some type of value in every aspect. Like people don't know how to run the clock in gyms. Like my dad always told you need to know how to do everything in the gym. So if somebody runs, I know how to run the clock. You know what I mean? If somebody need to put up the gun, I know how to put up the gun. Like if I need to teach a big man how to shoot a hook shot, like I know how to teach a big man to shoot a hook shot. Like, so you gotta be able to have value in everything. Don't get boxed in and don't let them box you in.
And the unique thing, Jay, about it, and just to expound on what you're saying, you just told a young man, be ready to serve when you come in, because you came in and served. You know, it's biblical that it says whichever one of you want to be great, you have to be a servant first. You follow me?
Right.
So you just said, I would mop the floor, I would do this, and a lot of people, Jay, they because of this microwave society and because of this AAU, this summer basketball society that just gives them everything and gives them everything. You know, you got young 16-year-old kids thinking they run their household. You got because of their notoriety. You know, you got. I mean, it's so. One thing, and that's what I would like to. That's what I got out of it. When you go and get blessed enough to get on one of these college campuses, you should have a servant mentality. If you want to say anything about
absolutely.
It. Right.
Absolutely, because you can't. I mean, once you get somewhere and say once you're somewhere where you want to be, you can't get complacent where you're at, because you know everybody else wants to be there too. So you know what I mean? So if you're not doing your job and you're not performing, they can bring, it's going to be 1,000 other people who want to be right there too. So you got to be able to do whatever is needed to help.
It's awesome. Jim?
Now, I wanted to ask you something else. I know somebody sent me a text message on this question. Everybody's up at work and they don't want to let other people know that they're shooting hooky and play from work and watching the Chop Shop. So here's a really good question. How often do people mispronounce your name?
Pretty often. It's pretty often. A lot of people go with Jai. That's the big one. And, it gets to the point where you know who they talking to, so you don't even correct them. Like, eventually it'll come out your name. So then it takes away that awkward moment of them knowing they were wrong. And, they just start saying your name right the next time they see you. So, but it does happen a lot.
And also, when you came up, I remember back in the days you were playing, and it was one of the things I never wrote publicly, but I noticed. Most every team you played on, your jersey top was always too big, like two sizes. Did you find that as a form of disrespect?
Come on, man.
No, dude. He know what I'm talking about, Hatter. It's like it made him look smaller by default because the shirt he would be wearing extra large, 2X. Was that on purpose, or did they just?
No, that was back in the time where the higher the number, the bigger the jersey. So, I used to wear number 15. So that number would always be a bigger number because I didn't want it. That was the number I wanted. That was my family's number. So I would always just take that jersey. And then eventually by like my senior year, Glover started to get them in my size. But, at first it was you know how it is. The smaller people get the little numbers, the big men get the bigger numbers.
And Jay, I have to, and the reason I was telling Jimmy, Jimmy, that got personal. I had a little bitty runt too, who had the big jersey on. And I'm sitting there looking at some of them pictures going to John Lucas camp. He looked like he had a dress on. So we just had little bitty. We had smaller stature young men that just happened to have big hearts. But I'm glad you reminded. Boy, Robert gonna laugh at this one because I used to say, dude, you're so skinny. You always got them big old jerseys. You have to do it like how y'all used to do it.
Twist it over.
Yeah, twist it over. Yeah,
crisscross it.
Yeah. What else you got, Jim?
Now times and changing. The kids, they still can't be tighter. They can't be no tighter with the kids wearing.
D-Wade got everybody wearing them tight breeches. Yeah. D-Wade and
Cameron rolling them up.
Yeah.
So we mentioned the McDonald game, 2007. McDonald's All-American, and and it was something I remember back in the atmosphere at the time when a lot of people were in their own circles. They didn't seem happy for you making the McDonald game.
Right.
And because because of, you know, your dad. And I say, well, hell, okay, the dad might. What kind of dad would he be if he not trying to pull a string or two for his son to get to the McDonald's game? So what I want to ask you is, do you think that being a McDonald's All-American created more animosity for you?
It's kind of like I said earlier, like the animosity is already there, just by the perception of everything that people think you have and everything that people think you're given. Like Hannah saw how we grew up in the jail. Like it was different times back then.
Yeah.
Like stuff that was going on back then and what been said is like,
yeah.
you know, that couldn't be allowed right now.
Right.
But you know, I think that just came with the territory. And the one thing I did, and I take pride in, is that summer going into my junior year, we won everything. You know, we lost in the Final Four Peach Jam. We lost in the Final Four Peach Jam. We made it to the finals of Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
I won the Nike All-American Championship. I won the Nike All-American 3-on-3 Championship. If it was anything on the line, like we were in it or I was winning it. Mm-hmm. So, and that was going against Derrick Rose and Chris Wright and Johnny Flynn and Kalen Lucas. Like, it wasn't like, you know, it wasn't like I just was showing up to stuff and they were giving me things. You know, like it was like you had to go and take it. So, you know, in that part of it, I felt like I earned it. And we played a national schedule my senior year. Coach Glover took us we got invited to Hoop Hall before it was as big as it was now. And we played in the Tournament of Champions, and we played like the 2 national ranked teams. So, you know, when it was time to perform, I felt like I performed, and that helped me.
But what happened? What happened in high school? You said everything. What happened in high school? What y'all do in high school? I don't remember.
We went to the Hoop Hall Classic, which is up there in Springfield.
No. I'm talking about the state championship wise.
They didn't make it.
We got beat. Nah, we never. That's the one thing I never did. I didn't make it too deep. We always got beat the first 3 rounds. We lost to Kingwood when they were on that state run. Mm-hmm. They were like our regional before they go to regional semifinals. Mm-hmm. It was always, you know, a close game. Mm-hmm. And then my senior year, we got beat by Cy Falls and Devin Gibson.
Oh yeah, I was at that game.
Yeah. In my senior year, he was probably the toughest competition my whole high school career.
He beat you twice that year.
He did in the finals of the JCs,
yes.
And then they beat us in the playoffs.
Oh, that's the game I went to, the JCs. That's the game.
Well, and the Devin Gibson guys, he ended up signing and becoming a mega star at University of Texas at San Antonio. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people and understand and made a difference. But with you, and I'm looking back on it that year before then, 2006 or 2005 it was, when you guys lost to Kingwood in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. You guys had Kingwood beat.
Yeah.
And then Jared, what his name was, Van Wright or something like
Dale
that.
Van Wright.
Dale Van Wright.
Yes.
Dale Van Wright. And do you ever talk to any of your other teammates from back then? I mean, you know.
We talk every now and then. Not as much as probably I should. You know, we all busy and stuff. But Josh Mitchell. Cameron Wells are probably the 2.
I remember Cameron Wells. Yeah.
Kept in touch with the most out of anybody.
So wait a minute. You came out in 07. Y'all don't go to the 10-year class reunion?
Nah, we are.
Jimmy, I never went to that stuff.
Nowadays with this real, it ain't a big. It's not big in our age group.
Yeah, Jimmy. In my age group either. Then, Jimmy, I never went back to Jimmy. Hold on, Jimmy. When I graduated in my class, it was 5 blacks. So I'm not good. I don't know none of them folks no more, for real. So I never went back. I just never went back. Huh?
We got We got one segment left with Jay. Do we toss the break right now?
No, let's keep going with Jay because I want to get him out on time. Let's just keep going with him, and we'll do the commercial break right after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now, in coaching, when you're at University of Texas, and once again, like I said, because I noticed it was a pattern as a player from my side of the fence. A lot of times, grown folk conversations, you might not get them unless they're relayed to you, because at the time you're a teenager. Then as you get older, you go to Florida. Let's just stop. We'll take the road up. So before going to Florida, that was when your dad and myself, we partnered on a camp in Houston. That's what spearheaded him into doing the camp. I think that camp was at the time called the Southwest Invitational Camp. Something like it was at the University of Houston.
Yep.
You were there. That was the very first one. And we had college. It was a live event for college coaches. Right?
Yeah.
And Billy Donovan came while you were playing there. And I think I'm not sure if you had already committed or not at the time. But Billy Donovan was one of the coaches that came in the U of H Rec Center. And so you go to Florida. They got Nick Kazelis, I think that was his name back in the day.
Calathes.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
That's way back.
Still playing overseas or something, man.
Yeah, he plays in Greece.
Yeah.
He was Mr. Florida in basketball.
Yeah.
So you go there, and I remember you playing a lot in the game, but then Nick got most of the ball handling duties, and eventually you end up transferring to Texas. So my thing is, what advice that moment? That's something you realized that you might have been led to believe to get you as a recruit, but once you get to the school, things change. What changed during that time at Florida?
Well, my freshman year, I started every game. I was like all SEC freshman, all SEC honorable mention, and all that stuff. And then going into my sophomore year, we had like scrimmages and stuff. I played good at like 20 and 18. And then the day before the first game, he came up to me and said, "We're going to move you off the ball. We're going to play Nick at point guard." So this is the day before the first game.
Wow.
And so then I actually played, which was a scrimmage, like our first exhibition game. There's exhibition games back then. People don't do them a lot now. So I actually played in the exhibition game. And then so once I played in the exhibition game and didn't feel right, like it wasn't going to work and stuff, just how everything was going to go, I decided to transfer. And so, the transfer process, they always tell you, like, we'll take care of you and, whatever you need, we'll help you with. So when I transferred, you need a waiver because back then you played in the exhibition game, it counted as a year.
Yes.
So when I played and got back and decided to transfer to Texas and stuff and asked, for the waiver and stuff, they didn't grant the waiver. So I end up only playing, a lot of people don't realize this, I only played 2 full years of college basketball, my freshman year and my senior year. And then I played December to March of my junior year. So I only played 2.5 years of college basketball. And so that was, that was kind of it. And the biggest thing, and you have to be careful with where you go, especially, and the shoe doesn't fit everybody. So like some kids need to go to regional schools because you have a little more power. You have a little bit more say, like they can't, the people where you come from and where they recruited, they want to go and recruit again. You know what I mean? And Florida came back and I think the only person they tried to recruit was Justice Winslow, back when he was a senior and stuff like that. So, that in that sense, unless you know for sure. Yep.
And the reason
I was just saying, unless you know for sure. Yeah.
No, come on. Come on, baby. Come on.
Unless you know for sure, like unless it's a smaller school, you can be the man, or if you know for sure that you are a bona fide one and done, or you're somebody that for sure, maybe even 2 and done. You gotta be careful in your selection.
But Jay, you was a McDonald's All-American, Jay. You done whooped to the pitch jam, to the hoop hole. You done whooped everybody's behind. if it'll happen to you, how can you tell? How can you make sure? How can we tell Miss Kim son and the ladies on it, Miss Tiffany's son? Be sure. How in the hell you sure? How can you be more sure than you? You a McDonald All-American.
Yeah, you just have to. What you have to do is you got to do your homework, do your research. I know that sounds weird, but you definitely got to do that. And then you have to realize, like, well, how do they like to play? What do they like to do? And then where I was, it's similar to like going to a Texas at Florida. Like at that time, they were probably as big a school as you could get, coming off 2 national championships. Yeah. So their recruiting was going differently back then. Oh. You know what I mean? So they were able to go and get whoever they wanted. And then they also had to take care of the state because like Texas, Florida always got a lot of players. So, when you're not from there, you're the easiest person to reject.
Gotcha. And you know what's so unique, Jimmy? Jimmy, I want to parallel this situation because, Jay, all people might not have a chance to do what you did, go to Florida, go to type schools like that. I'll parallel to my situation. When Robert went to Cornell, freshman year, made all freshman team and all that kind of stuff. And the next year, guess what the coach do? Take him off the ball. But guess what I told him? You might have came up here to play basketball. I don't want to hear that basketball shit. I promise you, I told him just like that. I said, do me a favor, son. I said, so what that mean? Well, you gonna take me off the ball? I said, what's the favorite thing in basketball you like to do? Shoot. The dude gonna pass it to you, numb nuts. I mean, he whining about something. And then I said, guess what? Then you're able, and parents, you're able, this every daddy, I know y'all ain't gonna do this. But I said, dude, you'll be able to learn 2 positions. Now you know how to play off the ball. And that's why I got him, Jay. I said, what if you go to the league and you got to play with Chris Paul? Who you think they're going to get a ball to? Chris Paul? I said, well, you better learn how to play off the ball. That's how I did it. And he relaxed, took his little ass back to practice, and don't come. See, but he wasn't no McDonald All-American. Most kids, Jay, going to deal with the things that Robert deal with, not what you deal with. Because you had cachet. He was a dude from Houston, Texas, going 1,700 miles to Ithaca, New York. Don't nobody know you up here, dude.
Yeah.
You follow me? That's the parallel, Jimmy. I mean, you can comment on it.
So if you had to, and this is a question from Angela on our YouTube screen right now. Says, ask Jay, Coach Lucas, if he could do it all over again, what school would you choose initially?
Good question. I probably would have, I don't know, honestly, because I was dead set on going to Kentucky until Tubby Smith left. And then once Tubby Smith left, that's why I kind of ended up at Florida, because then I had to scramble to find somewhere to go to school. If you remember, Florida hadn't recruited me until the McDonald's game.
Mm-hmm.
So they called me after the McDonald's game for the first time. So that was my first time with them, and they were like in the Final Four and national championship. So, it's a big deal. You get a call from Billy Donovan after the game. So that was my initial thought. But thinking back on it, I don't know. I mean, the best coach I probably had the best relationship was Jeff Capel.
Great guy.
Oh, he was at OU at the time, right?
Yeah, he was at OU at the time. He probably was the one person I had the best relationship with as a coach, like player to coach relationship. He played, he was younger, he understood the lingo and how to talk, so.
Jay, follow me here. Help my kids here. See, Jay, these people are listening to you now, and I got to ask this question. Jeff Capel, you loved him. You had a great career. You had a great rapport with him. Check this out, mamas.
Right.
Write this down. Kentucky You wanted Kentucky. You like Kentucky. Everybody want Kentucky.
He liked the Tubby Smith.
But no. He liked Tubby Smith, but Tubby Smith left, right? Check this out, parents. He go with the last person when he made the McDonald's. Hey, hold up. He wasn't cute enough before he made that McDonald's now. He went and put on that dress with the split on the side. He looked a whole lot better to Billy Donovan, mamas and dad. I'm trying to be frank. He looked a whole lot better than Billy. Billy wasn't even thinking about it. Oh, that's just John Lucas' son. That man messed around and made that McDonald's. Jimmy, and you can talk to this, and Jay, you can. And Jay said, "Oh, father, Billy Donovan."
Well, he can't remember, Hatter.
Huh?
Billy Donovan had came to that camp the summer before.
Okay.
But he wouldn't offer.
That's what I'm saying. Jay wasn't cute then.
Yeah.
Jay didn't have his hair combed in. But that McDonald All-American award, boy, it gave him a fresh edge up like Jalen Rose. He looked like Jalen Rose by the hair by that time. And see, and what I want parents to understand, this happened to a young man whose dad is who he is. His brother is who he is. It happened to that family. So guess what? It can happen to you too. So don't get mad and don't be, oh, well, no. They regroup. He wound up going to Texas and start being a coach at Texas. And look where he at now. He ain't got on none of that gear right now. Next time we see him, and he got to get out of here in 2 or 3 minutes. So, Jimmy, get Jay out of here, man.
We got a couple more questions. Somebody asked, what's the best advice?
Okay.
You got one?
I got a little bit of time.
Okay. We got a little bit more than 2 minutes then. Now we're gonna take it.
Yep.
What's the best advice that you got from your sister, your mother, and your dad? You already gave us brother, so I gotta ask you now. That's why I'm not asking your brother. You already told us the best advice we gave you. But your best advice from your sister, your mother, and your father.
Good question. I think the best advice from my sister is more so, and it's like I would probably say I'm the quiet one in the family. I'm the one that just gotta, just go about his stuff. But watching my sister and the way she just works in general, like about it in general, just anything, and now she a new mom and watching her work and do that, so that is probably the one thing about it. With my mom, she's probably the one person, the advice she give me is just stay who you are. You know what I mean? Don't let any circumstances, good or bad, change you. You know what I mean? Because, you're going to have bad times, and I've had bad times. You're going to have great times, they're great, but just stay who you are. Right. Don't let, that change you. And then for my dad, he didn't give me so much. It's like Hatter was saying earlier, you don't truly understand when you're a kid going through it until you're older. So, I understand why my dad treated us like he did in the gym. Like, it makes 1,000%, sense to me now because we had everything.
Right.
We didn't want or need for anything. So when it came to basketball, none of that stuff mattered. So it had to be hard for us because no one was going to take it easy. We weren't going to get no nights off. So he had to make it like that for us.
Right.
So I think the biggest thing for him is just everything he's done has shaped where I am now. So I think the biggest thing is just being a father, finding ways to be a father and taking care of your children and putting them in positions to be successful. And that's the one thing, especially in our culture, that we have to do a better job of is being able to, in general, no matter who it is, put us in position to be successful and understand, like, if we can get somebody a step ahead, if we can put somebody, like, if I were able to get a job somewhere, get the Kentucky job or the Texas job or somebody, like, people who have helped me, like, I have to help them. Like, I owe them that favor. It's not I'm going to get there and, turn to somebody different or somebody new. Like, that's part of it. Like, you have to help the people who have helped you.
Yeah, And I mean, indeed, and I mean, there's so many questions, guys. I'm looking, trying to read them all. So now, Jay, while you were at Texas, I think there were 3 players beat out Kentucky in recruiting, and I think it was Mo Bamba, Jared Allen, and Jackson Hayes.
Yeah. Well, for me, you saying at Texas, the whole
Yeah. Texas.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and Greg and Miles.
And Greg Brown and Miles.
Yeah.
So 5 players, you were part of the recruitment and you beat Kentucky while at Texas. What was your secret weapon?
Nah.
0. He ain't telling you.
No secret. It was no secret weapon. It's just, you got to do your work. You got to make sure you stay consistent in what you're doing. When you're not at that type of school like a Kentucky or, something like that, when you're it's weird. When you're the local regional school, people look at you local and regional. And that's just, to be honest. That's just how it is. They look at you that way. So you have to do more for them to be like, okay. You know what I mean? So in that sense, it's just, you got to make sure you do your work and build that relationship. Because, it's hard. Now I've been up here 3 days. This is hard to beat. If you're about basketball and if you're about, wanting to play basketball and being the closest thing to the NBA and that type of environment, this is hard to beat.
I mean, indeed it is. And so you guys now,
and
the season.
Jimmy, Cal's got to be a pretty smart guy. So you just gave me this information. I forgot about that, right? This dude was part of the program that beat me out for them 5 dudes. Yeah. Let me hire him away from them. Come on, man. I ain't crazy. Hey, that's what I would do at my company.
And they really wanted Greg Brown. That's for certain.
That's what I would do at my company. It's smart business to me. I'm not, man. Hey, I'm sorry. What else you got, Jimmy? Hey, Jay, it's one. Jay, it's 2 minutes after 1, Jay. 2 minutes after 2, your time. All right.
Okay, I go about 2:10.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Come on.
We got one more quarter left with Jay, y'all.
Okay.
We got an 8-minute quarter, high school quarter left with. So now, in 2 things. First, I want to ask you, will there be a season this year? And what's the like?
I feel like there would be a season. From everything they told us, there's going to be a season. And I think it'll be in some bubble capacity. I don't think there'll be fans or anything, but I do think there'll be a season.
And you guys, so now scheduling, you're going to be consistent with this, not the schedule. You mentioned visits, official visits, unofficial visits. They're different at Kentucky. That's not like the normal unofficial or official visit. Because you at Kentucky, the opening night, the midnight madness, whatever, that's like an annual spectacle.
Yep.
That's going to be they're not, what's the word? They're probably not going to do it this year.
Yeah.
Because of COVID.
Right. Right. And I would be shocked if there are any official visits or unofficial visits this year.
So now, what do the coaches? You just go, everything is virtual now. That's what you guys are going. Is that working well for you guys?
It's weird. This year it's been completely different. If you notice, most people are already done with their recruiting. Like most kids have made decisions. Most, when I was at Texas, like we already had 4 commits. So like, most people are pretty much done with their classes and stuff like that. You had a lot of kids make decisions and commit early. So, this year has been different in that sense of them doing that.
And so now recruiting wise, you guys, when you were at Texas last week, how much of the video games, the streams, how often did you as a staff watch those?
You watch them, especially if it's somebody that you're really recruiting hard. You'll watch them so you can communicate with them about the game and what you saw and stuff like that. And then, people's name who come across and people blowing up. So you're watching a lot of them, and then you can record them and you can edit them and see the good plays, the bad plays. So it's a lot of it.
Oh, you can edit those games when you stream?
Record it. Yep. When you record it, you can go back and edit like the shots, turnovers, rebounds, blocks, stuff like that.
And so college coaches, they have those. That's why I did hear about that.
Talking about Synergy? What you talking about, Synergy, Jay?
Yeah.
Or they got another service now?
This is like, it could be from anything, the Baller TV or whatever. You can like record the game and stuff off of that.
Oh, okay. That's good. Okay.
Now recruiting wise, so what are the things that the biggest changes that you can foresee for us college recruiting at the high level? Because that's the perch which you own. You played at a Power 5, at two Power 5s, and now you coached at 2 Power 5s. What's the biggest changes on the landscape you can tell coming even through the grassroots? That's part of your recruitment.
Everything's about to change. It's about to be a completely different recruitment in general, especially at the Power 5 level with this, all the name, image, and likeness stuff, the transfers stuff. It's about, college basketball is going to look completely different here in the next 2 years.
I got something for you. And Jimmy, I want to reiterate something Jay just said. And we he said it, but Gary put it on Gary Carter put it on the Facebook feed, and he said, you said some key, and it might went over some people's head. You said most people are done with their recruiting. So
yeah. So
what he telling, don't be deaf. See, some people out here was deaf to that, and I felt it. Because there's a lot of D1 or bust types out here. I'm D1 or nothing. I'm D1 or nothing. And you just said, man, most people are finished with their recruiting. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to add that, and just in case people didn't hear it, because you got guys still out here holding out, talking about, man, I'm D1, I'm D1. I'm what you call it? I'm Power 5. I'm Power 5. So I just wanted to reiterate what you said, because Gary Carter came on and said the exact same thing. In other words, amplified what you just said. What else you got, Jim?
Yeah, and also a lot of the guys are giving their shout out to you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Lupe Nunez gives a shout out to you, Jay, and send his well wishes. Bobby Benjamin with the Houston Raptors program sent his well wishes.
Marlon Lowe.
I see Marlon Lowe has sent his well wishes from the back when Marlon Lowe. Matter of fact, those were some of the great battles when you were back in high school. Yeah. And Marlon Lowe had, what was it called? The
Team Houston.
Team
and
Houston.
The T-Mac All-Star.
And
Marlon Lowe had the T-Mac All-Stars too.
But no. Where Chris worked a deal with Marlon Lowe, and kind of,
it was like the first year or something. That one year.
Somebody ever gave you their car, let you borrow their car, Hannah, and you got in and cranked it up, and the battery didn't start.
Hey, it's a guy, I call him PBS. He said that boy looking like new money on that skin is clear, hell on the screen. That's PBS, Potbelly Sloan. he said your skin looking clear. Hey, what you doing looking at this man? Hey, Sloan, let me tell you right now, Sloan, if you wear some of them tight bridges and that tight shirt again, what you had on last week, and all these people sent me some video, and Jay, I don't mean to interrupt with you, but people were sending me some video saying, man, what the hell is this man? Hold up, Jay. Jay, I hope you got a screen somewhere. This how this man was looking, y'all. And I forgot. I hope you can see a screen, Jay. And what the hell? Hold on. I got a nut.
Wow. What the hell is that?
Had on some Daisy Dukes. Like, man, what is wrong with you?
Sloan changing the game, man.
Man, he ain't changing the game. He better cut that mess out. You know, and guess what? And I left him alone because somebody sent me that about a month ago. He was somewhere in Dallas. And I said, no, I ain't gonna do him like that. And then he come on there messing with you.
Said a month ago.
He come on there messing with you, Jay.
That's my family.
Jay, that man had some that man has some boy shorts on. I don't know what the hell he had on, Doc. But back to Jay. I'm sorry, Jay. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Hey, somebody sent another question. They sent this by email, and I just printed it real quick, and it's a really good one. I guess because a lot of times parents, and most of the time, they really ask the question. They really don't know, and because they've been told, they say so. Here's how the question goes: during the recruiting process, how do college coaches in schools actually confirm these player stats, height, weight, and other measurables versus what the players self-report?
This year is going to be interesting because a lot of people are taking recruits and stuff for people they haven't seen in person.
Wow.
So you have to you got to call people you trust who have seen them a bunch, kind of ask them, and then when you watch the film and you see other people on the court and you can kind of gauge how tall they really are, and that like you'll have somebody who say he's 6'11", and then you'll watch the film and he's really 6'8", 6'7". So you just gotta kind of go from there.
So Jimmy,
hey,
Jay, you just confirmed they are signing people sight unseen.
Recruiting.
You kind of have no choice to this year.
Okay.
Because you might have a big scholarship, you may miss out on some people that you wanted and stuff like that. So you still gotta do your job, so you gotta kind of jump out on faith and kind of see how it goes.
Well, you mentioned transfers a while ago, and when you mentioned transfers, I'm assuming the NCAA is expected to retract the rule or modify the rule, whereas expected to do so, which will allow players to have their first one-time transfer without sitting out. And they expected the rule on that, right?
Right.
So when doing so, can you explain? This is really important, and it may be spooky to some of you parents out there, but understand something. Just like a little shot, they're gonna call it a prick. It might sting a little bit. Explain what that really could mean for the class of 2021, graduate high school. What that could, give us an example. What that could mean, because that means now you'll be able to get a transfer, and that you don't know there's going to be a transfer right now, but you may be able to get that transfer in March, April, May, and this kid from 2021 class has signed in November preceding that.
Right.
What does this mean for this class coming up and the next ones after that with high school prospects?
It's going to be difficult. It's going to be hard, and I got to leave after this one.
Yeah.
Because I got to get on the Zoom. Yeah. But it's going to be hard because it's an unknown, and it's even an unknown with your own players on your team now, because you don't know what they're going to do. Now you've recruited this kid, and say it's somebody you thought you'll have for 4 years, and will bring along slowly, because you always have those kind of kids. But then after a year or 2 years, he's unhappy with playing 12 minutes a game. He want to go somewhere and play 20 minutes a game. So you got to recruit your own players as hard as you recruit other kids.
Jimmy, let me get out of here, Jimmy. Jimmy, I know.
Yeah, we got to playing with Jay right now. We're trying to go to break. We appreciate it, man. Congratulations.
Always.
On the move. And over to Kentucky. Wish you much success. We'll get you back on when the season starts and chop it up a little bit more after you got your feet wet and try to learn the lay of the land out there without using Waze or any other app. But anyway, thanks so much, guys. That's Jay Lucas, the new special assistant to the head coach / recruiting coordinator at the University of Kentucky. Thanks a bunch, Jay. We appreciate you to hit the red button and beam on up out of there. And what we'll do, guys, we go to a quick break and come right back. And guess what? We got another guest coming for you. Remember that conversation from yesterday?
Yeah.
That convo from yesterday, we had some audio difficulties. But we're going to restart that entire convo from fresh with Tim Littlefield of Texas Boys Basketball. And we come right back on the Chop Shop. You guys hang right there.
Hi, everybody. This is trademark attorney Josh Gerben. I have some news for you. The NCAA has filed a new trademark application for Battle in the Bubble. The filing was just made with the USPTO on August 26th, and indicates that the NCAA will offer athletic contests, tournaments, and exhibitions at the college level. So basically, what this application says is that the NBA intends to use this slogan in association with collegiate sports. Interestingly here, it doesn't limit the application to any one sport. So for example, this is not just for basketball. Perhaps this could be used for a multitude of NCAA sports over the next year. Also in the application, the NCAA indicated that they are planning to offer clothing items that would use the Battle in the Bubble trademark. So there you have it, the NCAA making a trademark filing on August 26th for the phrase Battle in the Bubble. This is a phrase we're probably going to see all over NCAA events in the next few months, and you might even be able to get a collector's item in a t-shirt. This is trademark attorney Josh Gerben. I hope you enjoyed. I'll talk to you next time.
DJ Khaled. Left hand, right hand, yeah. Put it in the sink. Front hand, back hand, right with some soap in between, yeah. Wash your hands, clean them up. 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 Yeah. Left hand, right hand, put it in. Put some soap in. Right hand, match it up. Now lather. Clean it up. Don't dap me up, bro. Back it up. Got cleaned up. Back it up. Yeah, don't dab me up. Yeah. Limited dabs. Limited. Baby, step back. I don't want that. Limited dabs. 6 feet. Baby, step back. I don't want that. We the cleanest.
Welcome back to the best 120 minutes of your day. The Chop Shop, the nation's #1 urban sports talk show, and also your midday sports happy hour. Yours truly, Robert Hatter, alongside Jim Hicks, coming to you live from Houston, Texas. But guess what? We just had a great jet. I'm so proud. Y'all should have saw me beaming with pride when you know a kid from before he was, knew his parents before he was born, and then you see him grow up to be a great young man. And it does something on the inside of you. But guess what? We got another guest. He came on yesterday, and his conversation was so hot, the internet just froze on us. So guess what? I'm gonna let Jimmy. He froze. I'm gonna blame it on Tim. He froze in of yesterday. It was so hot. So But Jimmy, you introduce our next guest, and I'll bring him in.
And we of course we have him back by popular demand because the convo was so great. And on yesterday, we were recapping the ASAC Classic, which was held in Austin this past weekend. And we have Tim Littlefield with Texas boys basketball. They cover the state of Texas and year-round on the non-scholastic as well as the scholastic basketball scene. And of course, Tim, welcome back with us today, and we appreciate you coming on back. And let's just take it from the top for those who missed it today. And we'll ask you the ASAC Classic, how did it transpire? Of course, Craig Carlton is the founder of it, but you worked closely with Craig. Tell us about the ASAC and what was your function with the event.
So glad to be back on, just to touch base a little bit on how the event actually transpired. Carlton and Elvin Shedd, who's also with the ASAC organization, reached out, wanted to try to get a couple of teams in there, but then also to try to get some advice on how the event should actually flow, try to get some ideas on what could be different. As we've talked about before, about being innovative. So they said, what are we going to need to do to get Houston and Dallas teams, a top competition, to come this way? And so a couple of weeks prior to that, they had put together another event, but it wasn't as quality as this one. And Jim, I had a chance to kind of go back over our notes, or the notes.
Mm-hmm.
In this particular event, there were 32 kids in the class of 21 through 23, 32 kids ranked in the top 50 in their class that was in this event.
Oh, wait a minute. I got to write that one down. It was 32 kids.
From the top 50.
That's ranked in the top 50.
Yeah.
In the state or in the area?
In the state. Okay. So we have,
wow.
And according to our rankings, we had 2021s ranked in the top 50 that were in there.
I got you.
We had 8 8 of the top 22s and 4 of the top 23s.
Okay.
That's 32.
Yeah.
That's a great event.
So
I mean, and you're talking about one court. It was one court.
Oh, so
court.
you
So
didn't
that
have
was
to
the
go
business.
look at everybody else. You can see everybody. You see all the games.
Right.
That was
when
one
we
of the
did
things that
whiplash
was
on this one, trying to
phenomenal.
look from court A to court B or court 1 to court 2 to court 3, you know, like it is in some events. So that was the mindset of having some exclusivity right there, just so that way everybody could kind of focus on that. You know, of course, you know, bringing in guys like Allen and Ani and Gasso and Jim coming in from Houston to be able to, you know, support his area and also see some of the statewide talent and 24/7 and others. And so they just said, okay, we need to get as much media attention here as possible. So how do we do that? So, of course, to get all of the names that I just referenced to, how do you do that? Well, you got to have players. Players make the events. So ultimately it was, you know, going after all of the top teams, you know, in the state to have that type of talent. So at the end of the day, Carlton said, this is what I'm going to do. And so he put his money where his mouth was and said, you know, this is what we want to do. We want to bring in this team, this team, this team, this team, and so on and so on. So just based on relationships, like we talked about a little bit yesterday, he was able to bring in, you know, Taz Elite. He was able to bring in, you know, FOE. He was able to bring in Texas Hard Work. He was able, you know, obviously to bring in his own group that was actually there. Then had the local talent, you know, THP, and then went in and brought in the Houston Defenders out of Houston and the Southern Assault. So, you know, with that type of talent in the building, you know, that definitely was the place to be. And with no other events going on conflicting with it, you know, it provided a good platform for everybody.
Tim, I just noticed something. You mentioned Texas Hard Work, and then I know the Defenders went under their name. Was Nike the only shoe company that prevented teams from using their name in the summer, or did the other platforms? Because Texas Hard Work, that's their name on Under Armour, right? And the Defenders,
Correct.
that's their name on Under Armour. So they are allowed to use their name, Under Armour, Relax the Rule. Jimmy, I don't know. It's just something I just observed.
And Southern Assault is Adidas.
So then they had, so only Nike prevented people from using the name. Okay, I'm just trying to figure that out, because I heard that. Then I did Taz Elite was part of one of the Nike teams or something like that, I think, wasn't it?
Correct.
Yeah. So
Pro Skills.
Yeah, I'm just, you know, when people tell me something, Tim, I really analyze it, and I saw that, and that's the first time it ever just hit me that Nike is the only team, only shoe team that didn't allow those teams to use their name.
Right.
Jimmy, why? Is there a reason? It's just different policy.
Well, I mean, the reason is because the COVID, the pandemic, and as far as lawsuits, because those guys are signed, those names of those teams were actually signed. That's who the contract is extended to, those particular programs.
Right.
So they didn't want any, not knowing at the time back in early in the spring, what the direction of this pandemic would be as far as liabilities and stuff. So they just say, look, that's part of the verbiage in the contract. You could play, but we didn't try to encourage them not to play, which you can't, because the programs don't own the kids. They're not the parents of the kids. You, a parent, can have the right to do whatever you want to do.
But my question would be to that, Jimmy, my question would be to that is, why the other shoe companies didn't follow suit?
They probably didn't have, remember, Nike has had a lot of work in the past year, dealing with legal. Dealing with legal stuff in the past year or so. Not to mention the other ones as well, but you know.
I got you. I'm with you. I like that.
So
Jimmy, it was something. Y'all got to help me out with this one. Tim, I'm glad you're here, sir. I need your help. Mr. What's my man who came on the show? Gary, what's his name? Gary, who's over the program. What's the guy's name who was on our show last
Carlton.
week? Huh?
Craig Carlton.
Craig? Let me write his name down.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Craig. Craig Carlton?
Carlton. Correct.
Okay, Craig Carlton, right? He came on this show and said something so unique, and I loved it. I mean, I really, really loved it. I even made a off-colored comment about it. He said, "Man, I'm talking to the referees. I got the referees. We gonna get this thing done. There's no technical fouls. No technical fouls gonna be issued out." And I said, "Oh," and guess what I came back and said, y'all, and I'm so bad. I call that the Aaron Harrison rule. Because he gonna get a tech every game. So to get him to come up there, he probably told, "Hey, Craig, look here, pimp. I'm gonna get some techs, man. How can you help me keep me from getting thrown out?" So maybe that would happen, maybe it didn't. But Craig ain't here, I'm sorry. But Tim, they go up there. You got the rule. You don't get no tech. So, y'all got to explain to me. Can't get a tech. But why the referees still want to put him out the game? What do he be saying to these referees? Man, see, y'all, I ain't been to a game and watch him coach in years. I don't go to these gyms like that no more. So what do you actually have to say to a grown referee? Say, man, if he got a coach, I'm leaving. Just tell me some of the stuff that's got to be said. Talk about your mama. I'm going to go get my pistol. What the hell do they be saying? Help me.
But believe it or not, it's a two-way street. And so when I say that, you got some referees that are trying to be slick. You do have some officials that are trying to be slick. So, I mean, I'm saying that.
What you mean by slick?
What
do you mean by slick?
As a grown man, you're not just going to let somebody just talk crazy to you. So if they calling you out your name, or they calling you, cursing at you or whatnot.
Wait a minute, the ref cussing. Hold on. Whoa. The ref cussing somebody out?
To my knowledge, what I found out in this particular situation, it happened more than once.
Anarchy. Jimmy, it's anarchy out there, Jimmy. Jimmy.
Anarchy.
Jimmy, it's just no. Tim, what about respect? Tim.
Exactly.
Tim, stop, Tim. I used to coach my son, them little bitty team. They were little bitty boys, right? So, Tim, I didn't realize, I used to be excited, up and down the court. I mean, Tim, I used to come, on Sunday, I used to leave church to come catch the game, have my shirt, but the sweat through my shirts and everything, right? Tim, guess what happened? I went and watched the video of me coaching them little bitty babies. And I stopped coaching as soon as I saw that video. I said, man, you look like a damn fool out there. You up and down the court, sit down and leave them damn kids alone. And guess what? I ain't never sit on a bench and try to coach nobody's kid ever again. Because I was just excited. I wasn't cussing. But I said, dude, I look like a freaking clown. And I just said, I am not going to do that no more and not going to subject. And I had to ask my son. I said, man, why didn't you tell me I was so crazy? He said, Dad, I'm used to it. He said, Dad, I'm used to it. So, Tim, you said a referee. Tim, I know some referees in Houston, one in particular, that I knew if I came to the game and my son was playing, he got 2 quick fouls in the first 2 minutes. Listen to me. He laughing because he know it's true. Tim, I ain't never spoke. He used to ref the games in the pro-am, and I used to coach in the pro-am. GM, whatever the hell I was doing. I wasn't coaching. I was GM. And he didn't like me from the pro-am. Tim, when I walk, if my son is playing this certain team, he got 2 fouls in the first 2 minutes every time this guy comes. And what that I can do. So you're right. You're right. But was it that bad, Tim? Was it that bad?
Yeah. There's no other way around it. Both sides got a little disrespectful to the point to where it was like, at the end of the day, we got to remember we're trying to provide a service for kids. And that's the thing that probably is more bothersome to me is that you got kids that are out there witnessing it and kind of carrying it on. So for me to have to witness kids' opportunities. So, okay, we talked about the platform as far as all of the media there. It's on live stream. So you got people from all across the country watching it. It's probably more bothersome for me with kids that are looking for exposure. And that occurs. So, you know, as adults, we got to do better. I mean, that's just me personally. We got to do better in terms of respecting one another. I mean, you know, as an official, that official is out there. He's got a job as a coach. You know, that person has a job. Never should it ever get to a point where you questioning or cursing somebody out or taking somebody or talking about somebody's manhood or this or that and the other. So that was the black eye of the event. When things like that occurred, you know, the unfortunate thing in this particular situation, it happened to be the assigner that kind of came in that kind of was in his feelings a little bit. And I think, you know, he kind of let some things carry over from one day to the next and it bubbled over. So, you know, hindsight, you know, you get rid of that guy, you come in with a crew. See, the initial thought was to come in with only guys that we knew. But we were kind of had our hands tied. They wouldn't allow us to kind of do that in that particular area. So, you know, we're figuring out some things now. We're gonna have a workaround to kind of get around that particular situation. But in this time period, the officials were kind of out there, you know, coming in with some predetermined notions, if you will. They were told, you know, no technical, so they already felt a little bit defenseless. So as the coach, you kind of hear that.
Okay.
You know. Now, do you have to have technicals to control the game?
No.
I don't think so. No. You know, but you also not just going to allow somebody just to kind of talk to you crazy. So it was that point that they said, hey, if I can't give him text, he got to leave, or we're not going to officiate the game. And so it was a couple of times, you know, that type of stuff occurred. You know, so it's stuff that, you know, we like I said, as adults, we got to do better.
But Tim, is help on the way? Because Paul just said a note from the tournament. He said they made a note about that, and these refs would begin kind of overworked. And when you overworked and runs, and I hear them talking to refs around here, man, I got too many games, all that kind of stuff. They get a little irritable. But he said just 2 or 3 games and get another crew. 2 or 3 games, move out the way.
And that's one of the rules, Helen. You remember I told you that I've long used at all of my events for over 15 years.
Yeah.
And the referees know it. I'm gonna tell you, they laugh about it all the time, but they're serious. Believe it or not, I have a weight restriction. If a referee weight, because I'm paying, this is non-scholastic. I'm paying my money, so I can choose. They're independent contractors. Those guys.
Jimmy, what's the weight restriction, man? What's the weight restriction? What's the weight restriction?
250 unless you are over, unless you are 6'7" or taller.
Well, I get in there. I get in because you know, hey, when we going to get our umpire license?
And no, we got to call him. We got to do that. Okay. We're gonna do that with Patrick Beverly guys. We're gonna get our umpire license. We're gonna get some of that $70 a game. He's gonna get some of that ball. I ain't never made $70 an hour. It's gonna be fun right there. I ain't never made $70 an hour in my life. So I'm gonna go and get some of that. Now, another thing is what I use for referees, and that's good. Thanks, Paul, for noting that, for letting us know that. Yeah. And that is, my referees, I say only no more than they can have all the games they want.
Right. I
don't restrict them because some guys travel across town and travel miles, but you only can get 3 games in a row. And to prove that, have the referee assigner submit the schedule of the referees before, just like you got to do your schedule for games. They know the slots of the games before you are done with your schedule. So you get them the slots of the games. They send you the referees. And also that lets your front door know if a guy comes up to the front door with a black and white jersey saying I'm a rep. I know some reps getting all events free like that. I just sit back. They won't get in mine like that because my people know how it go. But I'm telling you how one of the things I
think of that.
Yes, they come with the black.
Give me a shirt. Have me a little. Do I have to have that little? You know, they have that little carrying case they come in there with. They little
You
roller
ain't really gotta have a case because at the front door they worried about getting armbands on your arm and worried about the money. They gonna say you go home. I just had to go get my shirt and referee. You know, they don't know. They don't know what you're supposed to have.
Hey, Tim, did the ref have to be tested? Did the ref have to be the thing on their head, the temperature checked? Huh?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I just want to know, do the ref get checked too? Because they be out there blowing that little nasty whistle, and that saliva be coming out that whistle.
Right.
Okay. I'm just telling you. I mean, you know, y'all probably already know about that. It's just my observation. What else you got?
And so now, I mean, at this event, we talked about some of the top players, and also yesterday, those who missed it, the ASAC Classic. Yeah. It was the donation for the first place team was $1,500, $1,000 for the second place team, and $500 for a third place finisher at the event. However, there was no championship game and no third place game. How did that go down? And to explain us again, how did the teams decide on that?
So ultimately, they had to come out of pool play. Pool play started on Saturday, and then they had a play-in game situation on Sunday. And so those teams that came out first or second in their pool were placed eventually in bracket play, along with the play-in situation. So once they got to a point where they knew, meaning the two teams, Taz Elite and Southern Assault, knew they were going to be playing each other, they came to an agreement that they weren't going to play because there was a possibility of them playing again this weekend in an upcoming tournament. So they just chose to split the money.
And so here's my solution for that.
Okay.
You got two solutions, which how you move forward. I like this part right here. I'm being a de facto volunteer consultant to the event. You make it whereas they have to agree, or when they arrive, that in order to get the money, they must play in the championship game, A. Or B, you need to decrease the second place prize down enough to whereas that first place ain't gonna want to say, I'm just gonna divide it up with you. In other words, if you're getting 1,500 and I'm getting 1,000, if I'm getting 1,500 and you're getting 1,000, I don't have a problem giving up $250 to you. That's what it is if you average it out. Right? That's 12. If you average it out, Hatter, 1,500 and 1,000. That's $1,250 a piece. So I mean, I'm gonna get $1,250 instead of 1,500. I don't mind giving it up for me to get on the highway and get a 2 hour.
Hold on, help me out. Hold on. First place team get what? 15.
1,500.
Second place get what? 1,000. 1,000. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. But Jimmy, your first solution ended all other solutions. Because if they don't play in the championship game, then you just said, if you don't play, the stipulations is you have to play in the championship game. If you don't play, you don't get no money. Then you ain't got to worry about nobody else talking about, well, we're going to split it up. No, both of y'all ass got to play. And if y'all don't play, don't nobody get no money. So your first rule was great.
And the reason is, number one, it's twofold. You have parents and patrons, and is eventually that event is going to inspire to get a lot of the locals to come out. And a lot of the locals, some people may have on their schedule, well, I'm gonna go to church early, I'm gonna make it up there for the championship game. You know, or I'm gonna catch the last two.
Gotcha.
You know, or I'm gonna go, I'm in Houston, I'm gonna get down there, I'm gonna leave at 12, I can make it there for 4 o'clock to catch the game. Some people may be thinking like that. And so if you don't play the game, then there's a punishment, which you won't get your bread. And guess what? One of those teams don't want to play that game. That means the other one, and if you forfeit, you obviously you get to retain that money. So that's my 2
Tim,
cents.
I want to shout out to y'all, man. All of y'all who you, Paul, Craig, and the whole crew up there. Man, just thinking and doing something like that, you know, I hate I didn't have a chance to go to it, but I mean, just for me hearing from Alan, from everybody who was there, people who was there, people who were just in the stands, people were just telling me how great of an event, and y'all was in my neighborhood. That you know, Barton Creek, one of my favorite one of my favorite golf courses. I will be there very, very soon, real soon. And that's why I asked Jimmy about was the renovations done on it, because last time I was there, it was, but they were renovating. But man, thank y'all, man, for bringing something to y'all city. And y'all get tired. Y'all always going to support everybody else, and y'all gave people a chance to come and see your great city and see what y'all had to offer. And guess what? Get what that does. That makes the whole state better. That ain't taken away from nobody, because nobody did no event like that. So that just it makes the whole state better. And I thank y'all. Tell Craig, if you're not watching the show, Paul's there. I just wanted to tell y'all thank you because I've been hearing great things about what y'all did up there. When anytime y'all got Alan Branch and Jimmy sitting next to each other, let me tell you something. I know that's an event that I would want to go to and want to be at. It's hard to get them two in the same place at the same time. So if I got an event and got them two there, oh, you're in the right place. Talking about the basketball.
Say,
huh?
No, Branch got there a day early. He was. He's out there on the golf course at the hotel hitting ball with some 70-year-old men out there.
I ain't mad at it. Jimmy, that's a great course. If you're a golfer, one of the hardest courses I ever played on. But I'll be there. I'll be there shortly. But Tim, I'll call you. But Jim, what else you got? Man. Huh? What else you got, Jim?
Yeah, I know you got the notes all over the place. What you got over there, Tim?
What you got, Tim?
So we're gonna recap. Yes, we're gonna recap so some of those kids and everybody can kind of hear players of the weekend, so to speak.
Yeah.
Shout out to those kids. So we'll go back over to Marcel Bryant, 6'5" kid, 22 out of Cedar Ridge School, had a pretty good game. Actually, had a pretty good game. Had a pretty good tournament.
What team did he play with?
With Austin Pro Skills. So he was with Austin Pro Skills.
That's Rick Brown.
Trendon Stewart.
That's Rick Brown, the coach of that team. I just found
that
out.
Did that team really did they actually beat the Houston Defenders on Sunday?
Beat them at the buzzer.
Jimmy, I don't want to hear about nobody beating my Houston teams, man. Keep on going, Tim. Keep on going.
That's not supposed to happen, man.
Jimmy, pro skills. Pro skills, Jimmy.
No, Howard. Pros.
I'm going to say this about the Austin Pro Skills because I've seen that group 4, 5, maybe 8 times throughout the spring and summertime. Not any high-profile names on there, but there are a lot of blue-collar type kids that just play hard. They play together. They kind of know their role. They got a couple of kids who kind of carry the load for the most part, but they're starting to have some other kids kind of step up. So it's not, like I said, not a high-profile team, but they play hard and they play the right way. Okay. And what happened with the Houston Defenders, they were up 10 or 12, and they started missing free throws, and they kind of let the Austin Pro Skills team stick around. So what happens when you allow a team to stick around? Wind up getting burned. So that's what happened. Left the door open.
And here's
another kid.
Jimmy, hold up, Jimmy. Jimmy, can we take a time out?
What happened?
I just saw this post. Will you read this post?
Which one?
From Mr. Amor Aji. He said, Jess McKee, please join my Facebook group. It's about singles, relationships, marriages, people from different countries and cooking and all. We organize parties in each country, visits orphanages and homeless prisons. I don't mind, Jimmy. I don't mind.
That's a troll.
Huh?
That's a troll. That's
man, come on, man. Come on, I'm sorry, Jimmy. Hey, y'all, Jimmy, we got a responsibility to our audience to address that.
That's true. We got to put the thing and while I'm talking and bump the mute on him.
I got it all. Okay,
yeah. Bump him on to the put his tires on flat. Now, meanwhile, we just say it's not supposed to happen. It's because based on Saturday when I was there. That same Austin Pro Skills team, right? The first game I watched, they got beat by Taz Elite, which is the real Pro Skills, the sneaker sponsored Pro Skills team.
Mm-hmm.
It's the big brother. The big brother played against the little brother. Because sometimes the little brother think, you know what, I done watched you run, I'm faster than you. And you say, well, let me show you something. Brothers, siblings do that all the time. So big brother played little brother, and big brother won 64-33. Right?
Yep.
30 piece. So then, a couple hours later, I watched Austin Pro Skills play against Texas Hard Work. A very depleted Texas Hard Work team. Very depleted. And if anybody was there, they know it. But still, just like when they came to Houston, they were even more depleted this past weekend than when they were in Houston a couple of weeks ago when they played the Defenders. Because then at least they had Big Vince then. They didn't have nothing. Lamar Walker was the tallest player on the team this past weekend. And Sean Jones, both kids from Shadow Creek High School. Hard Work beat Pro Skill. Defenders are a sneaker-sponsored team. You're not. Now it's happened because we can name countless non-sneaker sponsored teams who have beaten sneaker teams throughout the years. But on that particular weekend, after watching Austin Pro Skills wobble, getting their bell rung like that, that was the opportunity to knock them on out, and just put them in place. Now you come back, a sneaker team not supposed to lose in that situation to a non-sneaker sponsored team. But however, hey man, still shout out to Rick Brown. Understand, they hung, because obviously he got his kids and regrouped them and motivated them enough to come out there and say, look here, we watched the Defenders get their bell rung twice as well, right, on Saturday. So the Defenders came into Dallas. They got beat by a non-sneaker team on Saturday, which was the Next Level Raiders, right?
Yeah.
Next Level Raiders beat the Houston Defenders. And of course, Southern Assault rung their bell by 30, activated the mercy rule.
I got a question. Hold up. At this particular event?
Yes.
Hold on.
So the Defenders got.
Hold up. It wasn't but 9 or 10 teams there, right?
Yeah.
Hold on, man. Whoa. Hold on now. Somebody playing daddy ball. It's some favors being made here because these teams I thought this supposed to be the cream of the crop of the team.
No, even Jim, and I, we were kind of sitting there, certain teams that had a full arsenal, so we know that. I mean, Houston have.
Okay.
But again, that's no excuse. Teams come ready to play, especially, with what was at stake. Kids are playing for exposure along with money being on the line. I mean, sometimes pride does kick in. You ain't trying to lose.
See, I forgot about the bread. I forgot about the money. Who gets the money? Do they
not
get
only
the kids
that,
the
you
money?
got to think about this, Adam. Adam, think about this. If that's your last time, if this is your last time as a kid playing on a circuit or a platform for 2021 recruiting, this your last time in front of everybody, what you gonna do?
Hey, my hands
because everybody getting ready to go back to school.
Hey, coach, my hands gonna be orange from getting the ball, having the ball in my hand, and dunking in that rim. My hands gonna be orange at the end of the day. If that's my last game, man, that weekend. But you know what? Our kids just don't think like that right now. Tim, we got to get them back to thinking like that. And we got a couple of them now, but we got to get them to thinking like this, dude. I know we got a whole lot of games and a lot of seasons to play, but dude, this your last weekend, player. You better play like Lou. What his name? Lou Dort. What his name? The dude.
Lou.
What his name? The dude who got hard. I ain't gonna lie. And I'm finna skip some on you. I hated him. I don't like him. But this dude just don't care nothing about his body. He playing like, get what he playing like. Man, I ain't gonna play tomorrow. I might not never, Benny Donovan might not never let me play. What if the kid from Dallas can hit a shot? Because he ain't hit a shot. Polar Terrence Ferguson. So what if he hit a shot and he's in the game. That kid, our kids need to get back to that, Tim. And I know you talk to him more than I do, but dude, it's your last game? Oh my God. You should be talking about every one of them 2021 guys right now. That's who you should be talking about. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So, FOE had a couple of kids. You know, Jamil Cofer played well. You know, about 6'3", 6'4", real athletic kid. Juan Reyna, lefty, about 6'1", can really shoot it. Patia Dogal, kid from Texas Hardwood Prospects, really athletic kid, looked really good. For Texas Hard Work, Austin Nunez had a solid weekend. Sean Jones, Joseph Van Zant, Ramon Walker, and Trey Blackmore all played pretty well. And they were shorthanded, but all of those kids, you know, had a role in terms of having to guard people a lot bigger and stronger and faster than what they were, but they still, you know, kind of stepped up and answered the bell on that one. Kid who we didn't talk about a little bit yesterday that I wanted to make mention of, Wade Taylor. Wade Taylor's a player.
Oh, my goodness.
He is. Yeah.
I seen him play one time, and I said, I like him.
Yeah.
At Rick's event, at the Jimmy, what's Rick's event during Thanksgiving?
Elite.
No, at Thanksgiving.
I'm sorry, the Thanksgiving. Man, my mind going blank.
Yeah, because you got the Hoops giving. Rick.
I don't want to say the wrong name. My mind going blank.
All right. Well, I said, wow, I like Wade Taylor.
I think it's a Thanksgiving jamboree.
Jimmy, you know, I'm still mad. I wanted to see Wade Taylor and Mickey, Mikey Miles
yeah,
play against Hightower. I wanted to see that game. Let me tell you something. That state championship game right there, that was gonna be one for all ages, because all of them guards feel they the baddest dude. I'm the baddest dude out. COVID robbed us of that one. If no other.
So I'm gonna ask you this real quick.
So I'm gonna
ask you this real quick. I can't do my area no service if I don't stick up for them. So what makes you think that was gonna be the championship game?
Well, I know Hightower was gonna be in there.
So you just don't say Wagner wasn't gonna be in the championship game. Is that
Wagner
what you said?
who?
Say it with the chest.
Wagner who? What? Robert Wagner, who was on the movie?
Oh.
Robert Wagner, who used to play on
Hey, that whole 5A division was loaded. There's no way nobody can say what the championship game was going to be. That whole 5A thing was loaded. That's what everybody was at to see.
Homeboy, let me tell you something. Remember, you went on the show. Tim, we had two teams of destiny that wanted to meet. Wagner could be good, but Wagner wasn't going to stand in the way of destiny. So we wasn't worried about no Wagner. Wagner was going to get their head towed clean off, and then we'd have got the chance to see that thing. But that's all right. It didn't happen, COVID. But, hey, wait a minute. Who coached Wagner? That ain't John Smith, assistant coach on that team, right? Yeah, they was going to get their head towed clean off. I like the coach, though. I like the head coach, though.
Who else was the top performers?
When we talked about Wade Taylor, another kid from Southern Minnesota, Kason Holden, and Mason Gibson. Mason Gibson actually got defensive player of the tournament, so he was a solid kid, you know, that looked really good, shoots it really well. Another two-way kid. Gavino Ramos for the Next Level Raiders, Josh Alasor, and Brian Armstrong for ASAC. Mashai Hill turned 15 yesterday, so big 6'9" kid you saw, Jim. He just turned 15 yesterday, so he's going to graduate.
JL3. He plays with Marlon Lowe in the JL3 program.
Mm-hmm.
That's his primary program. But guess what? Furniture might be moving next summer, and according to a lot of people, they're going to be trying to arm wrestle that kid back to staying home. We're going to see how that go. I don't know, though.
That's going to be tough. Jalen Bedford for ASAC. Colton Benson shot it really good. We talked a little bit about him yesterday before everything got a little haywire, and we talked a little bit about the guard, Caden Gums, who looked really good in a couple of games. You know, we talked about his poise level and how well he played in several games in there, too, as well as Kendall Dow for ASAC. The Houston Defenders had Noah Khan play pretty good throughout the tournament. Patrick Punch looked good on Sunday. And then Brandon Love was pretty good on Saturday in phases, and then on Sunday a little bit. For Taz Elite, C.J. Nolan, one of the top 21 kids, is really talented. Power guard, he's got offers from the Big 12.
He narrowed his list down to 7, I think, this morning.
Who is that, Jimmy?
Okay.
Who is he?
C.J. Nolan.
Oh, I see that name on Twitter a lot. Okay.
Yeah. Waxahachie.
Hey, Jimmy, and Tim, just put a footnote, because we're going to get you out of here. But Jimmy had the Ruck on the Wood. You heard of that before, Tim?
Oh, yeah.
Ruck on the Wood. Hey, Kim Jackson said, Jimmy, this is one of the biggest events, and college coaches were present. Do you feel boys played hard to their potential? My opinion is no. A lot of missed and open layups. It was lazy at the Ruck on the Wood, Jimmy. That's what Kim said, Jackson said about the Ruck on the Wood. I don't know which session she was at, but
I think the college coaches that were there were non-Division I coaches. They had about a half dozen college coaches that were present and live in the building. Not, we didn't do no streaming because it's an open gym.
Right.
I didn't, but they were primarily there for the class of 2021, the seniors.
She talking about the 2021s was missing the layups. They look lazy.
And so those young men, before they started to play, I acknowledged all of the college coaches, had them raise their hand so that they could see. They were physically in the building. They were right there. And the way that it was set up, all of the parents and spectators had to watch from upstairs, and only the college coaches and the media could get on the floor along with the players. So those kids knew the college coaches were there. And then every bench was coached by a player from University of St. Thomas. So that means you had college players that was bench coach, not coaching a team per se. And that's the way to do it. That's the better way to do it. I try to explain in people with camps or stuff. You get bench coach. That way one coach, unless you got stations and they stay with them, but that way now every other coach gets to coach a different group of kids, a different team.
Okay.
And that way now everybody is kind of rooting for everybody, because you might have coached him 2 games ago on your bench, Tim, and I might have coached him, on my court. Then you might coach him, Howard might coach him his 3rd game, and we all going to feel like we got fingerprints because you might have gave some advice to little Johnny during the course of one of those games. That's what gives it but the energy level, it was up and down for the 2021 class. Some kids had helped themselves. Some kids felt like, and that's one of the things you said it earlier, Adam, we as the grown folk have to find a way to reinsert the notion. Back in the days, when I was coming through middle school, looking up to the guys that was in high school back in Houston, hell, Paul Quinn was sexy. Wiley College was sexy. Houston Tillerson was sexy. Even though they
wouldn't let y'all in them other schools that much.
They're not.
Huh? They wouldn't let y'all in them other schools as much as they do now.
Other schools,
see your options. Hey, Jimmy, you're only as faithful as your options. If all you used to be messing with is this over here, and then they open up a whole world to you, you might want to look at the world. But Tim, I don't want to go. Get back, Tim. If you got anything else you want, give me some more. Give me some more. I'm writing these names down.
So we talked about a kid. So we talked about a kid yesterday that's arguably making his way up the charts. Probably going to be 1 or 2, depending on who you're talking to. Cason Wallace.
You had to mention that name again. I called and asked about that. I called around. But keep talking. Keep talking.
So that's the one right there that we wanted to talk about, because I know yesterday we brought up the Arsenal kid. I really like
Terrence Arsenault. Say his whole name.
Yeah.
Hold on there, Tim.
Put some respect.
You gonna just say?
Yeah.
No.
You don't say his whole name.
Terrence Arsenault is a player. There's no doubt about it. He was in our camp on just
Hold on, Jimmy. Was Terrence up there?
No.
Why not? Why he didn't come up there?
Well, his primary team in the summer was not a 17U team. His primary team was a 16U JL3.
Okay, that's good. I just
so
didn't
that
know.
was that.
So tell me about this Casey Wallace, man. Please, somebody tell me about him, because I ain't never seen him.
Two-way kid, meaning he playing both sides of the ball. But here's the thing I like about him most.
Okay.
He don't have to score a bunch to dominate the game. If the kid don't have to score that much, and still has a huge impact, he's a player in my book.
I haven't heard that about too many kids.
That's this particular kid. I mean, you're going to look at his stat line. He's going to fill up the stat sheet. Sometimes going to have 14, 15 points, going to have about 8, 9 rebounds from the guard position, but they're going to have some assists to kind of go along with it. So he don't, like I said, he gets others involved, plays the right way, but then he also will lock you down too. So he's long, probably got to make it.
I can go back and watch that on Baller TV, can't I? I can go back. I want to watch it. See, you got me want to watch him now. Yeah.
No, he's active. He's good. And so the thing is, like I was saying, that who's the best 2022 from the ASAC area?
2022. If Vince is here, then it's definitely Vince. With Vince going on,
but he's going now.
That's what I said. So with that being said, you got Austin Nunez is up there. You got, so pull up my list for you, just so you can see. And it's a very good question you have. So you got Austin Nunez, the top guard. You got Trey Blackmore is up in there. You got KJ Adams, but not 22. I'm sorry. So 22s. Who else we have on the list right here?
I got to pull up some.
Yeah.
They putting links out here for me to look at. Let me check. I'm not subscribing now. I'm not giving y'all my credit card number now. I'm just telling you.
Now, meanwhile, Alex asked a question for you, Tim. He said, what would be the minimum that you would call good stats in a grassroots game for a front court player, for a big, right? And what would be give an example of a stat line.
I'm gonna look at it from his touches standpoint. I'm gonna look at what he does with his minutes. So it might be a situation where he don't play a lot on this particular team based on situations. We saw it on Saturday and Sunday where there were a couple of teams that went small. So if they go small, you really can't, really kind of do that. So let's just look at it from a minute standpoint. So in a 32-minute game, if he plays 20 minutes, and I'm gonna look at his touches. If he touched the ball 10 times, he scores 6 out of 10 times. I will see that, that being pretty effective. But I'm looking at the overall game. I'm looking at how he rebounds out of his area. I'm looking at his footwork, how he catches the ball, how he defends, how he's clogging up the lane, how he rim protects. I'm looking at all of that. So I'm not just necessarily just looking at it from a number standpoint. I'm looking at how efficient he is on the floor with the minutes being given.
Okay, and also, he's saying that as a starter, what is the minimum that a starter needs to do when you're watching a player for the first time to gain your favor? A starter in a starting center, the game goes in, so.
I want to see him rebound. I want to see him defend. I want to see him make it tough for people to come inside. I mean, if it's a true big, it depends on what we're talking about. We're talking about 6'8", 6'9", 6'10", because we're talking about 6'6", 6'7". Now I'm looking at how is that actually going to translate on the next level? I mean, now that begins to start to affect the levels as far as the kids. If he's only playing with his back to the basket at 6'6", 6'7", that makes it extremely tough. You got to be able to be versatile enough to be able to step out and do some things on the perimeter. So we can't just lock a kid down and just say that. If he's a big, I need to know exactly how big he is to be able to determine that.
Yeah, and me myself, I rebounding, I take it to another level. I want to see him rebound out of his range.
Mm-hmm.
That means a rebound that you normally that's not coming to you. You know, 'cause me and you can rebound the ball coming to us. So I'm looking for the big. If he can go out of his range, in other words, take a rebound that would look like it was earmarked for another player, and get that thing. That catches my eye. That catches my eye from a big. And I love the questions because these are questions parents.
They're very good questions. I like them too.
Because these stats, sometimes you look at stat lines and some guy may put up 12 and 10, and then the next guy to put up 7 and 7 getting all the ink. And people get confused on this stuff. And so that's why I love, and I wish more of you guys would ask more questions to get understanding, especially from the people. That way, take note.
Jimmy, I'm finding out. Do you think that the parents, some of the parents, because just watching the climate out here, some of these parents don't want to hear the truth about something.
I wouldn't necessarily say that as much as really kind of knowing what it should look like. A lot of people really don't know what people are looking for or what situations they should be putting their kids in. You know, a lot of times we're talking about, like, let's just say guards, for example. If my son's a point guard, I'm not going to a team full of guards. I need to go into a situation where he's going to be on the floor, he's going to be able to play and show how effective he can be managing the team, if that's what he is. I mean, you are what you are.
You're definitely right. You are what you are. And
I got you. Okay.
And so,
all right.
And so now, Tim, we got you get all of the players. You ran through the top performers.
Yes, sir.
And of course, that was the ASAC Classic from this past weekend. And I want to remind you guys, on the rcsports.com, we have the recaps from the championship games posted on that. And on yesterday, you go on the VIP news, you can see that. I think Doug Jones is supposed to insert the top performers from the 2022 session. And on tomorrow, we'll come back with the 2021 session. So I didn't want to jump the gun. That's why you didn't get the Rucker on Wood full recap from me. I didn't want to usurp Doug's posting of the 2022 class right now. And I'm going to see if he's posted it. And he's posted it. I updated the VIP news this morning with some good information and some tip nuggets on there. And yes, Doug has posted the 2022 session on there since we've been on the air. And I can give them to you right now. Read you the names real quick. From 2022, Ruck on Wood, Davion Randall from Atascocita High School, Christian Dews from Beaumont Westbrook, Gavin Stewart from Straight Jesuit, Ty Buckman from College Park High School, Sam Akinrili from Foster High School, Jackson Fields from Elkins High School, Trey Miller from Concordia Lutheran, Jackson Cormier from St. John's, Sean Elkington from Crosby, now Team 4, Jalene Goodman from Summer Creek, Jacob Duran from South Falls High School, Team 5, Zion Ali from A&M Consolidated, AJ Ongst from Atascocita, Percy Chevis from Diboll High School, Team 6, Jonathan Burrows from Episcopal, Trevor Frank from Paytall High School, Team 7, Latavian Denson from Marshall High School, Austin Benyigi from the Woodlands Christian High School, Caleb Bouncy from Atascocita High School, Eric Holcomb from Thurgood Marshall High School, Team 8, Isaiah Bargenet from Fulshire High School, Leslie Newsom from Spring High School, from Team 9, Alex Lee from Clear Lake High School, and last but not least from Team 10, Ja'Cory Chapman from Hightower High School, Noah Thompson from Clear Springs High School, and Elijah Hill from Madison High School. Those are the top performers from the 2022 session. On tomorrow, we have 2021. Guys, you're doing yourselves a disservice if you have not been over to RCS Sports and checked out the VIP news. There's so much intel that's posted in that room throughout the course of a week. I'm telling you, It's over 2,000 to 3,000 words per week posted in there. And understand, this stuff is not easy to keep you informed with primarily Greater Houston news. That's what I'm saying. A lot of people watching from all over the state. Yeah. Primarily Greater Houston news. I have in there, I have recaps from every game on Saturday from the ASAC Classic in the VIP news right now. Details from each game with stats and all that in there right now. You get all this stuff in the VIP news for $2.50 a month. $2.50 a month.
Yep.
I mean, a lot of people don't get that. Understand? That's about 13 cents a day.
Oh yeah, it's worth it, but wait.
And you have people out there charging you guys $3 $8 a week, $4 a week, $2.50. It's been that way for 15 years. It's been the same price.
I can't tell them how much I'm charged.
You bootlegging them.
Yeah.
You bootlegging.
No, not high school basketball. But my consultant fee, it's real. It's kind of expensive. So yeah, Jimmy, that's great. Yeah. That's great. That's a great deal Jimmy's giving y'all now. And Tim, Tim, do you cover just San Antonio, or you cover the state?
Responsibility is the state, but we do a lot. I do a lot here in San Antonio, Austin, Killeen area. I get to Houston and also get to Dallas, depending on the event itself. It's like, Jim came down. Players drive this train. So if the players are there, then it's easy for me to kind of get out. We've done camps in Houston as well. We were there on July 3rd to see a lot of those players. So, your guy at the top of your list, very familiar with him, as well as some of those 23s in that class down there in the Houston area. So it's the 22-23 class is special all across the state. So it's definitely going to be a lot of fun for everybody that's involved in this grassroots thing, watching these kids grow up over the next few years for sure.
So now we just got to figure out a way to get all of them to play against each other without ducking.
Got to figure it out.
And nobody ducking, Jimmy. Nobody ducking. Let nobody duck. You got that area. Paul got that area. Stacy and them got that area. Alabama. Let's figure out a way. Since we got such a potent class, let's figure out a way to get some of these other people so we can come in there and see how we match up against some of them people who are out of town thinking they all of that. Because, hey, if they're at the top, always remember, and Jimmy, you taught me this long, if Houston have a potent top class at the top, or Houston or Texas have a lot of those guys get a chance to go and play after college. So we want to see how they measure up. So that's on y'all. And ain't nothing I'm trying to get into. I just thought I'd throw it out there. Since our class is so potent in those 2 years, let's figure out a way to get them guys together, Tim. And I want to see it. I want to see it. I'm gonna be an observer that time. Just sit there and watch it. What else you got, Jimmy? How we gonna get Tim out?
Yeah, so
Tim?
now we get ready to land the plane. Mm-hmm. Tim, I'm gonna toss you. We got a few minutes left, and we will be remiss if I did not give you the opportunity to share your thoughts on last night's NBA game. Let's just get right to it. The Houston Rockets and the OKC
push mute on y'all.
And how
y'all say anything ignorant. If y'all listen to me, if I hear anything ignorant out y'all mouth, I won't push the mute button.
Hey, you talk that up. Hey,
Jim,
I'm gonna use this example. So you asked me about the how come the Austin Pro Skills team was able to beat the Houston Defenders. It's because they took them lightly. Same scenario. People coming ready to play. Ain't anybody just finna just lay down.
I got 2 words. Point shade. Russell Westbrook got a new Ferrari somewhere in his yard back in Houston. Man, let me tell you something. Some of the passes that man, and I ain't blaming it all on him, but I'm talking about the whole game. You got to watch Tim. Tim, that man was passing.
The owners got their extra game out of it. Them guys said they was going to boycott. The owners have got the extra game out of it.
I got a question.
Got 2 Game 7s going on in the bubble. 2 Game 7s going on in the bubble.
Hey, let me tell y'all something. And I said this last week, and I own up to it. I understand why y'all don't like my nephew. Listen,
who your nephew? Which nephew you talking about?
All of them. But y'all don't like none of my nephews. And guess what? All of them bad. That's the problem. Y'all don't like. But no, I'm talking about James Harden. Let me tell you something.
Okay.
I came on this show, Tim, and said and admitted they don't want to hear that part. I said, Tim, he ain't Dame. He ain't Kobe. He ain't that. I ain't never seen him.
Dame Lillard is better than James Harden?
No. I'm talking about in late game situation. He is the heavy lifter. Tim, James is the kind of guy that's gonna put y'all, gonna bring you the water, gonna put that thing on your back, he's gonna bring you this, he gonna get you there. But Tim, I done found out. I looked at history. I'm a study of history. You got to have a counterpart. If you a star and you score 32, you got to have a counterpart to help in the NBA. I don't know whatever anything else y'all want to say. And listen, ain't nowhere in the world, D'Antoni, that the wild man should have been bringing that ball out after a timeout.
Okay,
Listen.
so I'm going to ask you something, Hatter.
Okay.
Why does his name keep coming up for jobs if he's to leave Houston?
Got the complexion for protection for collection.
We call it recycling trash.
Jimmy, I hope y'all know this if y'all been hearing about it. Tim.
How come nobody else can get consideration for that job?
Tim.
No, seriously.
Tim.
I mean, how does his name keep coming up?
Jimmy already talking about the man was dead man walking. That man got a deal already with Indiana. And Rick Carlisle and the Coaches Association, listen, the Coaching Association and Rick Carlisle, they mad as hell because if this happens, fire that dude for being in just the same position you are in over the last few years, and you fire this guy and then you go hire this retread, dude, they can't do nothing about it because they don't own nothing. They don't own it. But those coaches, man, are really, they say, listen, it's speculation that the deal is already done. And Jimmy, Warren Lagarde, the dude who's over the Summer League, if you ever go to the NBA Summer League, that's the dude that's running the summer. He the one representing all the coaches. He know what's going on, man. Homeboy, Mike D'Antoni ain't never cried about his contract. Talking about I ain't got no contract. Have y'all ever heard him say anything about his contract? Not once. Man, he got the deal already. But he let Russell Westbrook, hold on, Jimmy, that been terrible the whole game. Terrible. And bring up the ball at the end of the game. And let me tell you something. Now, I would have been a PGW that day. If I was James' daddy, see, guess what, Jimmy? They already got a rule. I don't know if you know, Jimmy, we ain't had a chance to talk about it. They got a rule to all the parents and executive and the parents and the significant other. Your ass can't say nothing to the referees when you come into the bubble. You can't, if you say one thing, you're out. The executives, all the wild executives, you talking crazy. You can't say nothing to the referees, Jimmy. You can't say nothing. When you in the bubble, you got to do what a Greek freak little girlfriend was doing. Just hold it, baby, and shut your mouth. Jimmy, I was James' dad in that situation. Man, I'd have came out there, man, what the hell y'all doing? I'd have been a PGW that day. And James, I'm mad at him. Because I would have said, look here, hey, homeboy. Give me. Hey, y'all, I'm having problems. I'm not going to let y'all talk about because guess what? Something got to be wrong, Tim. You saw the game. You saw the game. Russ.
Tim.
Okay.
Tim.
Go on, Jim.
Don't even say that. First of all, Russell Westbrook brought the ball up the court. James Harden was right there. James Harden could have said, that's what players do.
I'm blaming him, Jimmy.
So guess what? So James Harden didn't do that not one time. Not once, but twice. Did he not ask them or demand him to give him the ball? Okay, no, that's number one. Also, James Harden was invisible in that last minute plus of the game.
Jimmy, he saved the air ball. Excuse me. He wasn't invisible. Hey, Tim, what did you just say about doing some other things in the game that help you win? Tim, did you say that boy shot an air ball and James went and saved the air ball? I ain't never seen nobody do no stuff like that. So don't say he's invisible.
Balls now. So we pay James Harden all that money to go shag some balls. He's shagging balls.
No. You get to make that was a winning play, Jimmy. Then he in the corner. Jimmy, did you see the step back in the corner and they ain't passed it back to him no more after that? The last 4 minutes. Last 4 minutes, he didn't shoot the ball.
I saw that 3-pointer he shot and missed. That could have tied the game up.
Hey man, hey, let me tell you something. Man.
The Rockets, listen, look what the Rockets did. In the final 4 minutes of the game, they was 1 for 7 from the field.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
3 turnovers, 2 of them Westbrook made.
James made one.
And they still had 2 chances to win.
Of course.
Still.
20? How many turnovers the whole game? 22 turnovers the whole game.
Well, hell, okay, but look at how they had 19.
Yeah.
Okay, they had 19.
Jimmy, the game really was a 2-point game. So,
remember I told you guys this before. I said it's the performances that, not the stats, but the performances of James Harden in the playoff losses.
Tim, what was wrong with his performance last night to you, Tim? We ain't talking about Mr. Not pro James Harden. What was his performance? Did he have a sup? What was his performance like to you last night?
I mean, if you look at it from a statistical standpoint, you think, okay, 32, and I think 8, you think, okay, he had a great game.
Keep going.
You think, but
expectations are high.
Tim, I got a question. You tell me that one person, just give me one person who can win an NBA game. Y'all favorite player right now, LeBron James. I got to get AD on my team. I got to get somebody else on my team. I got to get who else? Tim, give me one more person. Where is my counterpart? Every NBA player. If I got 32, where is my guy? Look at Jimmy. Go look at who else? Who else did something?
You can look at Kawhi last year with Toronto. Who was his counterpart?
Tim, please don't let that come out your mouth. Pascal Siakam again. Pascal Siakam was on the all-tournament team. Come on, Tim. Wait, come on. Fred Van Vliet. Fred Van Vliet probably gonna get a new contract because of that. What are you talking about, Tim? You've been drinking with that dude next to me over here.
Adam, understand something. Understand something with this OKC, with this series right here with the Rockets. The Rockets got 3 wins. OKC got 3 wins. The 3 wins from the Rockets is by a combined 62 points. They just beat these dudes by like 34 points the other night. So that's the thing, expectations. You beat a team by 34. Russ comes back, and Russ' stat line, understand why you talking, he mentioned stat lines a while ago. Russ' stat line last night was better than his stat line in the 30-something point win. Way better. Am I lying? He had 7 points in the comeback?
Jim.
Think about it.
Jim.
But he played better.
Jim.
See the performance.
Jim.
It was a better performance in the 7 with scoring 7 points than he did scoring 19 with those turnovers in this game right here. Just wasn't good. He was terrible. But the focus ain't on. See, OKC fans, they got their eyes on Westbrook. In Houston, the eyeballs are on James Harden.
I want the
right
eyeballs to be on James.
Because if James Harden, you know what it comes down to? What other coach in the league, he's already got one coach fired. James Harden did. Already got one fired.
Who get fired?
Mikal
got himself fired.
James Harden got him fired. You got one guy fired. Now, understand this. What other coach is going to let James Harden play with this type of freedom in the offense, with this style?
You know what?
Who else is going to come in and let them play with this style of D'Antoni?
Hey, Tim, you look like you're trying to get out of here. Before you get out of here, you got to be a bad mofo to be able to get a coach fired. Ain't about 2 or 3 people in the whole NBA can get that, even thought about getting that done.
He one of them.
Huh?
He one of them.
Okay. So he might, hold up, he might not hit the last shot. He might make a turnover. It won't win you. But guess what? If y'all get him, y'all got him, Chris Paul, hold up. Chris Paul gonna pull up lame the next game. Y'all bragging about Chris Paul. Guess what? He gonna pull up lame the next game. What? And then y'all gonna come back and say, Hatter said lame the next game, Chris Paul.
I think he played. I think.
Now you hedging right now. You hedging right now. Chris Paul pull up lame next game.
Win.
So we're not talking about James Harden in the wins, Hatter. It's James Harden in the losses. So the Rockets win. That ain't what we talking about.
So what
it's
else
only
was
about
he
the
supposed
loss,
to
the
do?
playoff.
But Jimmy, you hedging your bet, because that little old crazy. I don't worry about him in the winnings. I just worry about him in the loss. Who does that?
That's what the city of Houston.
You're the only person in the world I ever heard. You know what? I watched James 30 points. Hold on. He can have 30 in the win.
The stigma, in case you don't know, Tim, and in case you ain't never heard nobody from Houston say, is that James Harden don't show up in the playoffs. Well, he does show up in the wins. In the losses, most of the losses is when he don't show up in moments. That's why I use the word performance, not the statistical point. You see what I'm saying? Because think about LeBron James in Portland. That first game the Lakers lost, LeBron had a monster stat line because it was LeBron James. Triple-double that first game.
Jimmy,
what, 24, 17, and 10? Something like that. And
Jimmy,
but that's LeBron.
Look at stats in the losses. If I lost, I just didn't do enough. If you lost, you lost.
No, that's not true. Donovan Mitchell scored 53 in the loss. And guess what? It's like, oh man, D Mitch. What's Murray? Jamal Murray scored. He had a 50, a 40, a 50 and 46 his last 2 games. Guess what? And before then he had a 34 early on in the series.
Just show up and look good. Get your ass whooped. But just show up, baby, and make sure you have a lot of points. You like one of the PGW mamas out here.
No.
Baby,
just go down fighting.
Hold on, no.
Go down fighting.
Hey, baby, Tim, baby, you're going to lose, but go make sure you have a lot of points because they're going to be talking about you. Just make sure you don't pass the ball. Just make sure you don't do none of that.
So you missed it. He had a lot of points last night, Heather. He had 30-something points last night. We're not talking about points. Performances down the stretch in clutch time. I understand OKC is the best clutch team in the NBA. They're the best clutch team in the NBA. OKC is. But James Harden got out clutch, especially by a guy that you personally ran his ass up out of Houston. You ran Chris Paul away.
I wanted his ass away from here too. Yes.
And guess what he's doing?
Yeah.
Guess what he's doing? He's giving them the blues, playing with house money.
Jimmy.
They were supposed to get swept by this team. Everybody knows that.
That's a dangerous game tomorrow.
They're going to beat them by 1,000 tomorrow. Tim.
They better.
We're going to beat them by... Hold up. Jimmy last night. I'm going to show y'all he hears his bet, y'all. OKC just going to go lay down anyway. Rockets done won this. That's what he said.
No.
So he can
That's what I bet. That's Adam. I'm not saying Houston is going to lose the series. I never did. I'm telling you about James Harden in the playoff losses.
Excuse me.
He got 4 more playoff losses that he got.
Let me wake you up.
Against the Lakers.
Let me wake you up.
He got 4 more. They're going to win tonight.
Can I wake you up? Houston got a chance to lose this year.
Houston ain't losing nothing. They winning that game. You just said it. So I'm taking that first statement and running with it. They winning tomorrow.
What I said. They got a chance to lose.
It depends. It depends on how bad James Harden want Mike D'Antoni to be his coach. If James Harden don't want that man to be his coach no more, then they lose.
Well, then we need to lose then. We need to lose then.
Because James Harden gonna be in for a rude awakening. This next coach come in. He ain't gonna never have it this good. He ain't gonna never have it this good.
Tim, you call a timeout. Tim, and we're gonna end with this one. You call a timeout and let Russell Westbrook bring the ball up the court. Got 7 turnovers, struggling. And you let him bring the ball up the court. Unbelievable. Y'all, let's get out of here. It's time for me to go. I just got an alarm. Alarm just went off, said, shut the hell up. And I got to go. But thank you, Tim. Finish it, Jimmy.
Yeah, man. Hey, how can they follow you on social media, Tim?
At T Littlefield. Hey, Jimmy?
Yeah, spell it for him, the Littlefield.
Okay. At T Littlefield. TLittlefield.
At T Littlefield, guys, you follow Tim Littlefield with Texas Boys basketball, man. Great, one of the great guys in the business, and follow him today. Meanwhile, we're gonna get up out and land this plane, and of course, it's time to slide on down Dino's back and yabba dabba do this thing. Don't forget, guys. Remember a couple weeks ago we talked about the little event from the young lady. We're going to talk more about that on tomorrow. What a name?
you talking about my baby Jimma?
That's it. Little Jimma. Yeah. They have a basketball benefit for her this weekend, and they are seeking some teams. And it's only $100 and something, and they're seeking some teams to come and play, and in this benefit. And she has a condition, and to be able to, and this is a benefit for a young lady. We're going to talk about it more on tomorrow, so Houston maybe can rally together and help support this event. It will be held out in the what side of town is that? That's the east side of town, the southeast side of town, going down 45 south toward the Alvin area at the new complex that was built called Upside Sportsplex. That's Harry Black that owns EcoStaff. He built the complex of facility out. So Harry Black is, and he's the owner of the largest black-owned job placement firm.
Yeah.
EcoStaff.
Right.
And Harry Black built the complex. You know what he say? I'm gonna build a 2-court complex. I kept stop traveling and spending all my money renting out other places for my son and my basketball family to play. So we'll talk about that and a lot more on tomorrow. Meanwhile, you guys make sure to share the show if you haven't done so already. Thanks, Jeremy Johnson, Upside Sportsplex. He just posted on the site. Tomorrow, we'll get more into that, and we're going to try to get some teams that can make a commitment to go out there and just play a couple of games, if nothing else, and support this great effort. And it's always a great thing when we as a basketball community can rally together and pool our collective resources for a common cause, a great common cause. And let's do it and help improve this young lady's life. Meanwhile, thanks a bunch, Tim Littlefield. But it's that time, man. We got to get up out of here. That's so for Robert Hanna. I'm Jim Hicks, guys, and this was the Chop Shop. We'll see you guys in 22 hours. Peace.
Jim Hicks, Rob Hatter, you are now tuned in to the Chop Shop. I'm Retro, let's get it. We in the Chop Shop, we live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop, I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop, we live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the Chop Shop.